Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yes, yes,
Thank
Suvendu.
you. Thank you. Hello. Uh, Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's session. Uh, I, Mr. Rudurnaran Das, on behalf of the organizers, welcomes you all on this Ranjit Guru Memorial Series of international webinars. The broad theme of this webinar is kept as Initiative Policy Dialogue 2020, COVID-19 and Life Practices Beyond Pandemic. So the topic of today's session is impact of globalization on Odisha. With us, the eminent personalities, Professor Kumar Das, Professor Digambara Patra, and Mr. Suvendu Senapati. So now, I would like to welcome Professor Sarat Chandra Pradhan to carry on the session with giving his welcome address. So the mic is over to you, Professor Pradhan.
Thank you, sir. Learned scholar, participants, academics, and distinguished guests, all are welcome to this third round of intellectual discourses, held in the honor of an epic soul of expression. Let Ranjit go and columnist. Dear friend, Victor Hook, an eminent scholar, has said, no force on earth can stop an idea whose turn has come. Rightly, it is now the turn of age of globalization. Globalization is universal and all pervasive. Odisha cannot be in isolation. Today's topic, impact of globalization on Odisha, is very much thought-provoking and time-testing. We are glad that in order to throw more on theme and to have more academic speculation, enriched and erudite academicians have joined us. I am grateful to Professor Digambara Patra and academicians and humanists. Although a scholar of chemical sciences, he is a lover of science vis-a-vis society. Another scholar is Professor Kumar Das, former Vice Chancellor, Fakirmore University, Baleshwar, an economist and policy think tank. He is a protagonist of new international economic order. Another young scholar, Mr. Suvendu Senapati, is a faculty of economics, a bank executive, and a practitioner of institutional financing. New credit culture. I hope we will be enriched and enlightened by this powerful deliverance and discourses. Thank you all.
So thank you, Professor Pradhan. Now I would like to invite Ms. Payal Agarwal to forward this session by introducing the guest speakers briefly.
Thank you, sir,
Ms. Payal
for
Agarwal.
giving me the. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, for giving me the honor. Warm greetings to one and all. It is said that never let a good crisis go to waste. This quote is attributed to Winston Churchill, and amidst this pandemic, this quote has come into wider circulation. The digital mode of education is very powerful, that it can connect a remote village like Kuapal to far away even foreign countries too. On this note, I would like to introduce today's guest speakers from the bottom of my heart who has connected with us from India and abroad as well. The most well known is Professor Kumar Baradas. He is an insightful scholar, an eminent economist, a committed teacher, and lots more. He was the former Vice Chancellor of Balesur, Department of Economics, Senate member, and Chief Editor of Vani Vikas Utkal University. He was he was the president of All Odisha Association and has 30 years of experience in postgraduate teaching and research. He is the first person from the state to have been awarded a D.Lit degree in economics and has authored 18 books and published 150 research papers in reputed professional journals of the country and abroad. Besides, he is a member of the Royal Economic Society, International Association of Regional Science US, List Society Germany, LACDE China, and Fellow of the Society of International Development Italy. Besides this, he is the editor of Utkal Economic Papers, associate editor of Indian Economic Journal, and also a member of the State Pollution Board. Really, sir, to speak about all your achievements, we have no words to express, as your achievements have no ends. We are highly delighted to have you as our guest speaker of today's session. Next distinguished speaker is Professor Digambara Patra. He is a professor of chemistry at the American University of Beirut. He has directly connected with us from Lebanon. He earned a PhD degree in chemistry working with Professor A.K. Mishra at IIT Madras. He is also a recipient of Alexander von Humboldt Research Fellowship and JSPS Postdoctoral Fellowship. He has written and campaigned for various projects for the education, infrastructure, and other developments in Odisha. Though an NRI, he has continued his tireless efforts to bring reform in governance, livelihood, and development of Odisha, especially backward regions. Really, sir, it is our proud privilege to have you two as the guest speaker of today's session. Last but not the least is Mr. Suvendu Senapati, an eminent economist, an influential speaker. Presently, he is the branch manager in State Bank of India, West Bengal. He has able to create his own identity in the field of economics. Really, sir, it is delightful on our part that you have accepted our invitation and has graced the occasion. Hope that after this introduction, the participants are ready to be mesmerized by our speakers. My humble request to all the speakers is to limit their lecture to 30 minutes so that an open discussion forum can be smoothly conducted after the lecture. To carry forward this session, I would like to invite Professor Kumar Bardas to put forth his insightful views. Over to Professor Das.
Thank you, ma'am Payal Agarwal. Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Hello, Professor Kumar Das. Please unmute your mic. We are not audible to you. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay now?
Yes, sir, it is
Yes,
audible
sir.
clearly.
Okay. Thank you very much for your nice introduction, elaborate introduction. Introduction was very thrilling for me, and I thank the organizers, particularly Vikram and others, those who have included my name in the seminar, in the webinar. And it is a great pleasure for me, and it is an opportunity for me and for all of us to have this session and interaction. It must be interactive. It should not be one-way monologue. It should be a dialogue. And I expect some of you must participate after the presentation of the speakers. Today's the topic is very interesting and very contemporary. because this COVID has taught us many lessons, because nothing can teach us better than the past mistakes. Mistakes are the best teacher for the mankind and for the individual also. So today's topic it is globalization and its impact on Odisha's economy. I particularly thank Payal, who introduced me now, Payal Agarwal.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
yes, I'm correct. Yes, Payal. Yeah, thank you very much for elaborately introducing me to the group. So the topic is globalization and its impact on Odisha's economy. In particular, we may discuss in a broader context. But Odisha's economy is the focus. When we start this topic, let me put in a broader context. When it started in 1991, the globalization was having three objectives. One is it is a supranational economic movement of integrating all the countries of the world, all developed countries and developing countries, underdeveloped countries, less developed countries, all are integrated to one model. That is, and the model is having only one objective, that is sacrosanct objective of economic growth. High economic growth has become a sacrosanct objective from the beginning. That continued. The continuity of economic growth continued, particularly in developing countries. It was very attractive. It was very attractive, and we accepted. But this is the first time in the world history, in 1991, and during that period, all countries they agreed. Developed countries they had the problem of recession, and developing countries had the problem of no incomelessness. They agreed to, and they come to accept one model. That model is globalization. They have demand. They have no desirelessness, and we have no demandlessness. Both the countries they suffered from two types of problem. One is a demand crisis, other is a supply crisis. Then therefore they agreed and they accepted globalization as the model by which both so North and South can gain. And therefore it was the first time they agreed, and they all converged and all started accepting globalization one after another. Almost all countries in the world are integrated, and that main purpose is to have global interdependence, global village, and global interconnectedness. And that is the main concept is interdependence, and by interdependence everybody will grow. And it has three objectives. One is free market policy, free marketization. Second is multinationalization for specialization, for modernization for higher efficiency, and for free market policy, marketization, multinational and modernization, all are having their own objective of specialization and high efficiency and better technology, acceptance of better technology. And as a result, particularly developing countries like India, they started having a U-turn, because previously it was having 40 years imitative development by following Russian economy. It was a socialistic central planning, based on central planning, and they started delicensing, decontrol, debureaucratization, decentralization, all these. Donkel, they accepted Donkel draft those days. I call it Donkelization, and so many D's. They started delicensing, decontrol, disinvestment, all these means all piche mo techal. Just they reverse everything, and they did everything towards achieving higher economic growth. And the policy is to have privatization policy. And previously the public sector, there was overemphasis, over commitment of public sector. Everything was on the public sector. After 1991, it became overemphasis on private sector. Private sector became overemphasized. The pendulum of economic growth remaining constant, it is swinging. It is swung from overcommitment of public sector to overemphasis to the private sector. Privatization started. As a result, the privatization process, disinvestment process started from 1991, and we have already finished almost 29 years or almost 33 decades on the way. We have finished or completed about 30 years. And then it is sufficient to analyze, to review what has happened over last 30 years, particularly backward areas, backward states like Odisha. What has happened? So over 30 years, it is sufficiently enough period to review, to analyze, to have assessment what has happened to different sectors. Particularly Odisha's, in the Odisha's context, Odisha is the symbol of backwardness. Odisha is the only state which is the poorest state in the whole country. Whether you accept or don't accept, whether you admit or don't admit, politically we may be saying that Odisha is growing, Odisha is shining, Odisha is full of resources. Those are political statements. Full of economic resources, natural resources. Odisha has highly promising. We say many political statements, but fact remains that Odisha is number one in poverty. From the beginning, that we do not accept till now, either Bihar or Odisha. Bihar is one or no, Odisha is two. Sometimes Odisha is one, Bihar is two in terms of economic growth, in terms of per capita income, in terms of industries, anything. Now, in industrialization, so many criteria we adopt, and we are not ready to accept. This is unfortunately. We are so myopic that we do not accept this statement that in terms of investment, in terms of investment climate, all those things. So last 30 years, let us observe what has happened to the agricultural sector, what has happened to the industrial sector, what has happened to the service sector and social sector. If these three sectors, if we can analyze, then we can really make a proper assessment of impact of globalization on Indian Odisha's economy in particular, and in general Indian economy. When you see the agricultural sector, which is supposed to be the biggest safety net for the population, for the working population, for the village people, that agricultural sector has remained as unproductive as before. Very highly unproductive sector. Almost now 68%, sometimes 75% of the population, they are depending on agriculture. That is a fact. But their contribution to GDP, SDP, state domestic product, is continuously falling and falling. It has come down to 15% or 16% of the state domestic product. So this disproportionality is really the problem. Disproportionality anywhere is really a problem. Your health, your weight, your height must be proportional. Every height has a particular corresponding weight. If it becomes disproportional, it is a personal problem to your body. That is also a problem. That similar situation is if one portion of your body, one part of the one particular part of your body is increasing, that is not health. That is not a sign of good health. Good health means a balanced development is necessary. Therefore, this agricultural sector, when it is engaging, employment is only 65% above. But the contribution to GDP is only 15%. That is unfortunately, that disproportionality anywhere is a problem, and therefore it is highly unproductive, and that fatigue of green revolution continues. And this is the only sector in Odisha where it is very high risk. The sector is full of risk and low profit. Particularly normally in economics we teach high risk, high profit. But agriculture is the only sector where you find high risk with low profit. Lowest profit, sometimes the farmers make suicide, and though Odisha is not number one in farmer suicide, that does not mean Odisha is better than other states. Farmer suicide in other states is much higher than Odisha. That does not mean that Odisha is better than other states. That is not a wrong indicator, because suicide is another concept. Because people in Odisha, farmers, expectation farmers, marginal farmers, landless farmers, their number is 80%. Their expectation is not very high as the farmer of the Haryana or farmer of Andhra Pradesh. Therefore, the suicide rate is less, but that does not speak the reality. Reality is much more worse than the statistics reveals. The average of a statistical average, which we people depend always. Economic, I teach econometrics, I teach mathematical economics, but I am vehement opposition. I oppose vehemently the relevance of statistics, relevance of econometric model, which we have been building in our research, and our researchers are research scholars, but they are not scholars. Many scholars are different from research scholars. Research scholars only get a PhD degree and go to their job. But the scholar always continues throughout his life for the social benefit for the humanity. He works, and for him it is a lifetime pursuit. But research scholars, unfortunately, they concentrate on the data reliability, on their methodology. But methodology is highly concealing, highly sophisticated, but data remains as ugly as before. Therefore, the agricultural sector suffers from the unrealistic data. Therefore, I will not load the audience with data or statistical figures, because statistical figures are not only concealing but also misleading. I will not, being an economist, I always avoid of late. For first 10 years I was doing different, but now I am avoiding statistics, because statistics itself is concealing and also misleading. And fact remains, the agricultural sector, the non-producers are appropriating the surplus, agricultural sector surplus of the farmers. They suffer perpetually. They suffer from marginalization. They are neglected. Though agricultural sector is overemphasized by the government of Odisha, but producers, the farmers crisis continues. That is your demand side crisis. Supply side crisis the government is addressing. Government of Odisha is trying to address the supply side problem of the farm crisis, but farmer crisis is different from farm crisis. As a result, the non-producers, they are appropriating, they are hijacking the benefit of the farmers economic condition remains as worse as before, and farmers are they suffer from high indebtedness, and particularly the tribal people, the tribal villages, tribal belt is the most prominent part of our Odisha economy has many peculiarities, and therefore particularly landless workers, particularly landless farmers, marginal farmers. 80%, which is not anywhere in the world, anywhere in the country. Therefore, this sector is suffering, and the model which has come from the top, that is farm to non-farm, food to non-food, the shift from food to non-food and farm to non-farm activities has increased throughout the globe, throughout India. By Odisha, it has a regressive effect. Regressive effect means the big farmers, those who are landlords, they are never farmers. Landlords are not farmers. Farmers are of different category. Here there is a problem of tenancy. Tenancy problem continues, and land ownership problem continues. Land rights problem continues. As a result, that exploitation and marginalization process remains worse, and the big farmer become big rich, and rich farmer become rich, but the poor farmer becomes more and more poor, and the gap between the rich farmer, big farmer, the small farmer continuously ever increasing. The living style, the lifestyle, the living standard, that continuously increase. The gap is increasing. That I'm worrying. The gap. You may say that they are also improving. You may say that somebody may argue that village farmers' standard of living has increased also. You may say, but I disagree, because the gap between the rich farmer and the poor farmer, the rich man and the poor man in the villages, inside the village economy, is that gap is increasing. That is the matter of great worry for economically. It is a matter of big concern. Therefore, agricultural sector is not prospering after globalization, and globalization was supposed to integrate the agricultural sector, and unfortunately also we have been doing mechanization myopically. We are so myopic that mechanization, we think mechanization means modernization. We think tractorization is agriculture, development of agriculture. Agriculture can be developed by tractorization. So tractorization, mechanization, they are all done, but it has regressive effect. As a result, the rich farmer, the owner of the tractor, owner of the machine, they get the benefit, but the small farmers, the benefit of the small farmers are hijacked by the big farmers, and big farmers' benefit is hijacked by the non-producers. That problem continues in this country. That the agricultural sector is not automatically integrated to the mainstream of the market. That is the problem. Therefore, depicts a very growing and very worrying marginalization process. They are selling kidneys, they are making suicide, and food security problem continues. Food insecurity problem is a part of economic insecurity. Economic vulnerability has increased among the farmers, among the village people, those who are depending on the agriculture as their occupation, and their number is 65% above. Particularly Odisha, it must be 75%. So therefore, though per capita income is increasing, the per capita income is increasing, per capita production has increased, production investment has increased in the agriculture sector, rural credit is available, and there are many branches of the bank. They are opening ATM counters in the, and the rural credit, though it has become the agenda for modern financial sector, but the Grameen Bank concept, the microfinance concept, the finance and inclusion concept, though the Prime Minister has started this Dhanjan Yojana, but practically it has not become effective because the purpose was again a political slogan. The Jan Dhan Yojana is a part of the political slogan, but it could not solve the problem of rural credit, which is already in a state of moribund state, and therefore the agriculture sector is suffering. That is my, particularly in Odisha, the challenge from the demand side continues. Therefore, demand side crisis, the farmers' crisis continues, and they have been hijacked. They have been exploited by the non-producers, by the owner of the rice mill and others. They produce, and the price support system is also defective till today. Price support system of the government is the price announced by the government is much less than the marginal cost of the farmers. The cost of production has increased as a result. The price is much less. Therefore, whole sector is suffering from low profit, but high risk. Then second sector, let us come to the second sector, is industrial sector. Industrial sector is suffering because from the beginning it was when the central planning concept was there, when we were following Russian economy. Those days we started industries up to industries, and 1,000 industries in 1,000 days. We started many industries, and everything we have in Odisha, we have many type of industries, number of industries. It was a number game, including 1,000 industries in 1,000 days. It was a number game. It was not industrialization. Industrial sickness was rampant. But now, industrial sickness question we are not discussing. We are discussing big industries and big MOUs. After globalization, we started MOUs with so many industrial houses. We have started big industries again. Big industries, number of industries is increasing, has increased already, like Bihar and Jharkhand. Jharkhand is one of the states which has all industries, but Jharkhand is not industrially advanced. That is because there is no industrialization. Similarly, second state, for example, we have to cite after Jharkhand. The second is the Odisha. Odisha has many industries. Number of industries is quite long. Bale, Cell, Isco, Balco, Nalco, what not. Steel plant, Hall, everything we have. We are proud of these things, but these big industries are big problems, because these big industries, the benefit does not percolate and trickle down effect does not work. Only and automation, it is suffering from high degree of automation. Automation means labor displacing. When we are having surplus workers, surplus laborers, we are displacing workers because we have accepted globalization model, which is a high technology model. High tech is not having any height. Height is heightless. The high tech is heightless because it is not inclusive. It does not include any semi-skilled workers or unskilled workers. Always it engages engineers, only highly skilled engineers, IITians. Only IITians, they get the job. As a result, everybody, it expect that everybody must be skilled, everybody must be an engineer from the IIT. So the skill, unskilled, semi-skilled, all should be included. Then that is called industrialization. Industrialization means ancillarization. Industrialization means auxiliarization, means linkage. Linkage must be there. That linkage is absent. If the linkage is absent, then that is not industrialization. So industrialization has not occurred, but industries have been established one after another. Sporadically, if you establish industries after industries, that is not industrialization. Just I want to make a joke, make a humor. My beard is a beard because there are so many, and it becomes so dense. And this is a linkage. There is linkage with all my hairs. Then it is called beard. This is called industrialization. This is dense forest where a tiger can live. That is called industrialization. This is a forest. But having one tree here, one tree there, that is not forest. That was, I was citing to the finance minister last government. I was citing this example that industrialization means linkage. Industrialization means ancillary activities, auxiliary activities. Ancillation is absent, means industrialization absent. So having industry does not mean industrialization, but having linkage is called industrialization, which is absent in Jharkhand, which is absent in Odisha. Odisha and Jharkhand example is the one extreme. Other extreme is Punjab. Punjab is one of the state where there is no industries to cite, no industry, big industry to cite, but economically most advanced and standard of living of people very high. So therefore, standard of living and economic standard of people and economic development of the state does not depend on the type of industry. This industry is only based on air hostess model. I call it air hostess model of development is continuing in Odisha. Odisha is proud to have industries, having industries after industries and MOU after MOU, but these industries are having all based on the wrong premise, and that model is air hostess model. Air hostess model of development is not a development. Air hostess model of industrialization is not development, not industrialization, because air hostess, I understand what I mean. Air hostess means after 35, after 38, 40, before 40, what the air hostess, fate of the air hostess. The fate of air hostess is goes to cargo. And नमस्कार और नहीं अच्छा नहीं लगता है. 35, 40 above के बाद इनका नमस्कार अच्छा नहीं लगता है, इसको भेज देते हैं, go to the cargo and sit in the counter to make the bill only. Don't stand in front of the passengers. You are not allowed to stay in front of the passengers. Your beauty is gone. So your future depends on the beauty. That physical beauty is temporary. Similarly, physical extraction of resources in Odisha is temporary. That is my unconventional view. Therefore, I am very happy that I participate, and you please debate on this issue with me. Air hostess model of development, depending on the marine, depending on minerals, is wrong. Minerals one day will finish, like physical beauty. But Odisha and Jharkhand, they are killing themselves. We are killing the goose which lays the golden eggs. We are trying to kill the goose which is laying golden eggs. Kendujhar, Sundargarh, they are the best states in terms of resources, but those states are the poorest states, particularly Kendujhar. Sundargarh is not, because our class steel plant is giving benefit, because income to the non-Sundargarhi people, non-Odisha people. They are not from Odisha. Therefore, it is a bypass system. Industrialization is a bypass system. It is bypassing the common man. It is bypassing the laborer. Laborers are not benefited, but machine is benefited. Machine, the capital. The capital is benefited. So, capitalist is growing at the cost of the state. At the cost of the state. So, the capital, we don't say capitalism. Nowadays, we don't say capitalism, because if I say, then you may think that I am a Marxist. I am not a Marxist. I am a humanist. I also equally criticize the Marxist concept, the Marxian concept of development. I equally criticize. I am only talking in terms of labor, in terms of humanistic perspective. I have a different perspective. That perspective is humanistic perspective, a social viewpoint, social watch. From the social watching point of view, that this industrialization should include the workers, and there must be a dignity of worker, dignity of labor. Neither it is in agricultural sector, nor it is in the industrial sector. We elite class are responsible. We educated people, we think the physical labor is undignified, and we do not contribute, do not respect the dignity of labor. Dignity of labor neither we give to the workers, to the farmers in the agricultural sector, nor we give to the workers in the industrial sector. We think everybody must be highly sophisticated skilled workers, but unskilled worker has a niche. He has a niche in the industrialization process, but we never give that importance. Industrialization must include all types of workers. All types of benefit must be given to all types of workers. So semi-skilled, skill, everything. Everybody must get the benefit. Particularly, we forget our history. We forget the world history, that in the 19th century there was merchant capitalism, which was where Spain and France dominated. Then in 19th century, UK was dominating because there was industrial capitalism. In the 20th century, US dominated. American economy dominated because there is financial capitalism. Then in the 21st century, there is technological capitalism where Japan is dominating, and we are following these countries one after another. But India has no takeoff. India has no takeoff. Odisha is, forget about Odisha. Takeoff is necessary for the aeroplane to take to fly. Before flying, it must have a takeoff. Odisha Forget about Odisha, think of India. India is a country which has no takeoff, but it is trying to fly. Because it is imitating it is my opinion. The economists, the planners, we belong to I belong to that fraternity. Unfortunately, I do not agree. I do not agree to the concept, to the opinion of the planners, where they neglect takeoff concept, because UK is the first country which has its own takeoff in 1780. 80 to 80, 1900, almost 1800, almost 1820 years, it was having a take-up period, and it was having a technological maturity in 1850. After again 20 years, again almost after 40-45 years, maturity came in 1850. But US, next country is US, which was having take-off period between 1843 to 1860, almost 20 years. But technological maturity of US took place in 1900. After 40 years. After 40 years, technological maturity comes. Maturity is different and technological takeoff is different. Similarly, German economy was having the takeoff stage during 1860 to 1870, 10 years only. 1870, only 10 years, but technological maturity came in 1910. Similarly, Japan technological maturity came in 1940. All these countries, advanced countries, all G7 countries, all these OECD countries, they have their technological takeoff and technological maturity. But India is a country which is symbol of the all developing countries. It has no takeoff, but it's no takeoff, no technological maturity. Technological is never advanced. It is always borrowing. It is always growing and growing with borrowed technology, with borrowed ideas. They get loan, and they get also the borrowed idea. They borrow money, they borrow idea, and they try to develop. So imitation is disastrous. Imitation is disastrous, not only disastrous but also caricature. And as a result, now what we have done, there is no technological maturity. We depend on the technology, and technological capitalism continues, and we are technologically suffering, and that suffering may be because we depend on a third grade of second grade technology. As a result, country is not developing. We call it developing country. Developing countries are destined to remain underdeveloped, but we call ourselves as developing. I may be blind man, but my name is Trilochan. I may be one-eyed person. My name may be Padmalochan. So we call ourselves as Padmalochan and Trilochan, but we do not admit the reality. Therefore, there is now technological divide. In the industrial sector, technological divide. In the service sector, there is also technological divide. Hardware is hard, software is soft. Hardware is dominated by the boys, and software is dominated by the girls. You go to Bangalore. Bangalore has become Makkah, Medina of unmarried girls, and they are getting 80,000, 90,000 salary, 1 lakh salary. Sometimes in IBM or Dell company, they are getting high salary because that is American salary given in India. Therefore, salary can be 1 lakh, 2 lakhs sometimes. Somebody also getting 1.5 lakhs. But they are concentrated only in service sector, that is software technology. Hardware is dominated by the boys, and particularly North. Software is dominated by the South not boy girl. It's similar. Simile I'm making. I'm comparing the similar. I'm giving a simile. Boy and girl division is same as hardware software division is same as North and South division. The problem is not boy and girl. The problem is the technology, which is software technology, software, hardware. I am nowhere. My computer, my laptop has a problem. If I call hardware engineer, he will say that there is software problem. If I call the software engineer, also it's a hardware problem. So both vanish, and from perhaps I am the first person in Odisha to have computer 30-40 years before. 30 years from 80. In 80, when there was computer, even not with the chief minister was maybe having 1 or 2 computers. Perhaps I was second or third person in Odisha to have a computer. I have some experience with computer engineers, software and hardware, software. When I call somebody, then I have some experience that my problem remains unsolved. My problem continues, but hardware will blame the software will blame the hardware, software. I am the owner of the computer. I am nowhere. What I am saying is, that division, digital divide continue. That is disastrous for this country, because hardware is dominating. Hardware is the pay master. Software is the pay receiver. Software gets salary, only salary, big salary, high salary, attractive, lucrative salary, either in India or in America. But hardware, which is controlled by American economy, The advanced countries, they control the advanced the hardware, and hardware is the paymaster. Hardware is the owner of the capital, owner of the money. They are the owner. They are the they control the software. Therefore, software hardware, they are complementary. But hardware dominates. Hardware, the dominance perpetuates. That's why what I'm saying, the software sector, the IT sector, which has become the engine of economic growth. Unfortunately, that is not the driver of economic growth. That is an attractive dabba. That is attractive, temporary, fragile technology. That technology is fragile. It has no future, because now you see during COVID time, what is happening? The people are sitting on a bench. Almost 50% of the software people, they are sitting on the bench, and 25% already removed from the job. It has no future. It is not. It is not a sector which can be called as an engine. It is only a dabba. It is only a compartment, attractive compartment, give attractive salary, but anything which is deceptive has to be attractive. Vice versa is not true. Anything which is deceptive, misleading has to be attractive. Vice versa is not true. A attractive girl may not be deceptive, but a deceptive girl is always attractive. Deceptive girl is always attractive. All that growth doesn't glitter. That is the concept I am highlighting in a different manner. So service sector is also equally suffered. In Odisha, service sector is also not growing. Whole economic development process is regressive, and we call it progress, but whole economic system, the industrial sector, agriculture sector, service sector, for example, our education. Education has remained a process of indoctrination. The best student of the university, I was in the university, Utkal University, which is the best university of the state. Admittedly, it is the best state, best university, oldest, biggest, royal, whatever you call it, all ornaments are there for Utkal University. The situation is, the best is not the best. Best is worse than the average. Average student is better than the best student. Please underline this statement. Average student is better than the best student, because best student, all maximum he goes for a job, and the job, he in the process of getting a bigger job, he becomes an engineer or a doctor or a professor or a scientist, and goes abroad and settle abroad, and in the process he's hating the India is a bad country, Odisha is a bad country, Odisha is not having any future, Odisha is bad, people are bad. He loves American economy. He has developed a spectatorial view about the development process of Odisha. Unfortunately, the most intelligent brain of our educational system cannot reflect the reality. The reality is not your rationality. Rationality of the rational person does not reflect the reality of the and relevance of the society. Neither your model, economy model, Ujwa model, Harodomar model, all models we have been teaching, Solo model, Swan model, we have been teaching. Do you put our mind, do you analyze what is the essence of that model to teach in the country like India, and all developing countries are we are teaching, all teachers are busy in teaching. But what is the relevance of those models for any country? Developing countries are not developing, and they are destined to remain, because they are part of the totality. Totality itself is wrong. Total, one side is development, other side is underdevelopment. The coin is defective. The coin is not balanced, but it is part of the same coin. We say it is positive, negative, developed, underdeveloped, part of the same coin. But I say coin is itself defective. The development model itself, we should teach what is underdevelopment. We should teach what is backwardness. We should teach economics of underdevelopment, economics of poverty, economics of unemployment, economics of drought, economics of natural calamity, economics of super flood, super cyclone. But we teach development model and Sono-Sol model, and very difficult to answer, very sophisticated model. But sophistication is only concealing the reality. There is a tyranny of sophistication, tyranny of the methodology of our research. We suffer from the tyranny of good, best methodology, but bad reality. So let us conclude. I am saying, because already 20-30 minutes already I have covered, so I want to say that the future of our Odisha's economy does not lie in this type of model. Our Odisha should deviate and there is a strong role, that is the indispensable role of the state. State should not be umpire, should be the real participant in the development process. Neither market failed and state also failed. State failed for 40 years. Market has failed also 30 years, 70 years. We have wasted already. Now it is a great necessity to realize the role of the state, the dynamic role of the state is necessary, and state must participate, not this bureaucracy. Bureaucracy is not the state. When we talk of strong state, we think strong bureaucracy. We must decolonize. We must decolonize our thought. Our thinking must be away from the colonial thinking. Mental prison is worse than the prison. So we must change our attitude, we must change our thought, we must change our planning process. As a result, it can be relevant and Odisha can develop. Odisha is rich in resources but poor in economy. That is, unfortunately, we must build our rural economy, village economy, which can be the really safety net for the whole economy, and the resilience of economic growth can be strong, and economically you can be more resilient instead of having the fragile technology, instead of a imitative development path. Path must be clear. If path is wrong, any destination is a mirage. Path is wrong. We must select the correct path. We must choose the correct inclusive growth, inclusive development, and real development. Real development means empowerment of people, entitlement of people, and sharing of the people, participation of the people, and sustainability for the future. We must understand that we are living on borrowed time, borrowed resources of our grandchildren, which is not born. The unborn posterity, we have borrowed from them. Whatever resources we have, the minerals we have, the marine resources we have, the tourism we have, all these resources Odisha is endowed with. Odisha is very fortunate to have many resources which is the other states are not having, and these resources we have been neglecting, and we are neglecting means we are exploiting the resources of which we are not the owner. Owner is the posterity, owner is the unborn child, and we are exploiting and wasting the resources, and Odisha has no future. Therefore we must be conscious now that we are borrowing everything from the posterity. Borrowing must make us responsible, and that responsibility only can be attributed to the state, to the government. The government must have a proactive role. It must not leave everything to the market. Market has already failed. State has failed because of her mistake. 40 years state has failed, market has failed, market failure, state failure. Now we must think of the alternative, which is Indian problem, Indian solution, local problem, local solution, temporary problem, temporary solution, long-term problem, long-term solution. We should not mix, we should not swap. We should not swap long-term problem, short-term solution, or short-run problem, long-run solution. We should not make. Therefore, we should not be myopic. We are responsible individuals. If we are not part of the problem, if we are not solving the problem, if we are not part of the solution, we are destined to remain. We are definitely, certainly the part of the problem. Our responsibility is to solve the problems, and we must have that government, that state, that bureaucracy which must have a really progressive thought, and even that thought process must be endorsing real resilience of economic growth. All three sectors, irrigation must be emphasized. Finally, real industrialization, not this contrived industries, not industries only. We need industrialization, true industrialization, which must include semi-workers, unskilled workers together. It should not be only automation. It should not be modernization. Must not be mechanization. Then third, the service sector must, the industry, the education, there must be educational reforms. There must be health sector must be reformed. Bureaucracy must be reformed. There must be reformation in the bureaucracy. There must be reform in political process. All these political reforms, bureaucratic reforms, educational reforms, health sector reforms, and industrialization must be truly done for the people, of the people, by the people. Development is for the people, not vice versa. People are not for the development. My head needs a cap, but cap for a head, or head for cap. I must be clear. I must not make a mistake, which is the cause, which is the effect. We are making the mistake of direction of causality. Direction of causality we do not understand. We are putting the cart before the horse, but horse must be first, cart must be behind. But we are thinking the cap is the head is for the cap. We are thinking, ironically, we think head is to adjust to the cap. Cap or head, garage or the car. I purchase a car first or garage first. But what we are doing, I make a garage first, the car to adjust to the garage. Nonsense. So this is a myopic thinking we are responsible, educated class is responsible, planners are responsible, my economic fraternity, where the teachers, professors, researchers are responsible, they are in the helm of affairs. So therefore, it should be properly designed to have a resilient economy. Odisha has big future, great future, but that future can be possible by not by this monolithic nature of the policy. It must be very pragmatic and practical policy where politicians must be very pragmatic, and the academicians must be very practical, and the bureaucracy must adjust. Bureaucracy must carry forward, carry the vision of the intellectuals and the politicians. Bureaucracy has no role, but dominance of bureaucracy must be broken. There must be true decentralization. True decentralization necessary. The decentralized model of development is the real development, not the centralization model where economic growth has become sacrosanct. Economic growth should not be overemphasized like this. Neither the previous government nor this present government. Neither the central planning model nor the free market policy. All these two models are suffering from one disease, that is economic growth. That is to be dismantled, and we must have a real development process. Development first development, then economic growth. Economic growth is a luxury. Development is a necessity. Development means people's development, social development, cultural development, individual development, humanistic development, child development, women development. These are first happening. Then only economic growth is a luxury that is happening in G7 countries. In advanced countries, economic growth is a luxury. But what we have been doing, we are thinking economic growth is the means to development. Nonsense. It is wrong idea. Economic development is nothing. Development is everything. We need development, overall development, social development is necessary. Then it will determine economic growth. Economic growth depends on development, not vice versa. So we are thinking the reverse, unfortunately. So let us change our mind. Let us think what I am saying, and let us debate on this. If you can participate, thank you very much. If you can participate, I will be very happy. Thank you very much. Okay.
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 Thank you, sir,
Mr. Agrawal.
for your
Agrawal,
wonderful and thought-provoking speech.
Yeah.
Now, I would like to request Professor Digambara Patra to deliver his talk. The floor is yours, Professor Digambara Patra. Professor Digambara Patra, please unmute your mic.
Can I share my slide? Good morning.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Oh. Can you see my slide? Hello? Can you see my slide?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay. Just because I cannot see. Okay, first of all, thank you for inviting me to this Ranjit Guru Memorial Series for the international webinars. I also sincerely thank the principal, Professor Chakravarti, then others, head of the department, Professor Pradhan, Mr. Das, and Mrs. Agrawal, Mr. Das, and my special thanks to Dr. Jena, Dr. Bikram Jena, who invited me. And I also thank all of you who are participating and who are watching this on live. And also I'm pleased and I'm honored to share this panel with Professor Das and Sri Senapati. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. As you know, I'm from the science background, and you gave me a platform to share my 20 years of different kind of work relating to Odisha. It is like a hobby for me rather than my academic stuff, though I have written a couple of articles and I keep writing in different news portal or a newspaper. So first, when I talk about globalization, there are certain things when I interact with my colleagues. I work in a humanity and social science. I chair the department, and I also interact with my colleague in economics, social science, all the discipline here. We have a liberal arts program. So I will explain some of the basic things, and I will also explain some of my experience during the course of globalization, how it impacts Odisha and how we are at this moment. First basic things, when I interact with my colleagues here in humanity or social science or any field, what I find is there is a don't take otherwise, there is slightly confusion in India especially, and they often complain the international standard work they don't get, in top articles, they get many from Brazil, but India is an English speaking country, but they don't get much articles, and mostly because our thoughts are mostly internal within India always. So first thing, we have to develop some tests to avoid confusion. What we do, bisect in science. First thing, we need to understand what is globalization. Often people confuse globalization with internalization. It was there before also. We were interacting different countries with Russia earlier in old days. We are buying weapons from different countries. We were dealing with United States. Exchange of people was there. Our people were going abroad working. Exchange of culture was there. There was also free trade agreement between the countries. So do not forget this one. Free trade was not existing before. It was there too. And there is another thing. We forget about nationalization within the India. Sometimes we say we get influence from other states, and we think this is the impact of globalization. And third most important thing is privatization, especially in India, where Professor Das was exactly pointing that one, that when we privatize things, when Narasimha Rao government came, and we confused with globalization, and because globalization also came at the same time scale, at the same time period. And our traditional work, like sometimes our political bias, sometimes ideological bias, everything is linked. For instance, I will give a small example. In Odisha, sometimes we say due to globalization, there is environmental degradation. Some of the NGO, you are academic, so please don't take otherwise. Some of the NGO, not all, they relate everything with anything. Like one of the articles came in one of the national newspaper, that one of the local NGO was claiming that diarrhea in Thuambul Rampur is due to the climate change. You see, this is not scientific. People know what they understand. Diarrhea is a viral thing. It's all if you know, there is a polluted water and other things. Similarly, sometimes we relate with deforestation. Sometimes we are relate with mining and pollution. Mining was there before also. We are expecting the large part of profit of NALCO comes from mining, not from manufacturing aluminum. So we need to first avoid confusion to understand what is globalization. Globalization, Professor Das has rightly pointed some of the point, and I will not go in detail, just say globalization to make a world is one market. Like India is one market for us, so world is one market. So there are many advantages. But some people do not like, especially those that have ideological bias, like Professor Das was pointing, like those that Marxist view. Doesn't matter Marxist, those who has also conservative view, they don't like liberal capitalism, so they don't like the open market system, everything would be. But other aspect, what other people are also, that also miserable fail. If you look experimentally what affect our life, then all of them fail. So I will come to this point. What we look at today as a globalization is different than what it was thought in 1995 or 1990, even in 2000. In post-COVID globalization, we have trade war. So again, we are coming back to protecting our own products, United States and China. Then protecting our national market, like our Prime Minister is saying Atmanirbhar India or whatever, UK, Atmanirbhar Bharat. So all these things we have to look at in a broad scale. Second thing, what is also globalization in terms of communication? This is something we always forget. We are highly influenced today, like we are doing Google Meet, Facebook, all the social media is exchanging idea, exchanging information, and it is making whole world as a one village. This is also globalization, although it is not in economic commercial point of view, but there are things. I know there are small village in KBK, a married girl is getting married with somebody in Delhi, just connecting, they are liking their choice, like like a Western culture. The society is developing, it is influencing the society, and poverty, I will point this one later on. So first, we have to make clear what is globalization and what are the good things about globalization. It's not always as good and bad. First thing, it creates new opportunity. It lowers the price. We get a competitive price as a consumers. We get the best price, best product. It brings labor competitiveness, like you get a lower price for if you are market. Maybe it may not be good for social point of view, but I will talk that one later on as a limitation. Then it brings new talent. And here also a poor or a weak section becomes stronger because of globalization. It spread in innovation, new technology comes, you get access to new technology. In India also we got many new cars, but this is due to privatization. Do not confuse with globalization. So then we also access to new market on or efficient production. We produce many things. These are positive and negative also. I will discuss this one. Then there are many positive aspect of globalization also we found. We found a increase in literacy rate, health and economic growth in some of the developing country, poor economic country. And also we access to new culture, like I was saying, art and culture we expose, like as you know today, like a small Sambalpuri handlooms, if you put in the Facebook, it gets worldwide exposed. The guy from the Sonpur gets 500 sari outside, even some of the without outside Odisha, some of them from even the foreign country in a day, just a small. This is how helps the globalization in some aspect. But there are other demerits also globalization, like for rich country they suffer, like competitive the Indian labor work, so the people lose job. For rich country, smaller wages is a really problem. India also suffer in this. I will discuss more. Then also it increase capital in some countries. Then labor moves from one place to another place. It can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing. India got benefit for this one. And multinational can monopolize. They can create their own market, and just like big fish eat all the small fish, it can create inequality. It can also make unequal between two places. Then already I discussed about big corporation, how they can influence. It may also, in some cases, it may affect the GDP and human developing, especially for developed country, not for developing country. It has. And another thing, maybe some of you economists who work on economics, you may know, company may move from one place to another place just to avoid tax, which is the lower tax. They will leave the work, they close the industry in one place and they move to another place. Then structural unemployment, shifting sector, and most of these things, the negative impact, this happen in developed countries. So don't think that globalization is good for developed country or United States. This is why today United States has a trade war. Globalization did not help United States as they were expecting. It helped country like China. We will talk about this one little more. So first, when we talk about impact on India, okay, I will not say this is only due to globalization. There is globalization plus privatization. So when I talk about Odisha and India, we don't have concrete data that it is due to globalization. We have a mix of data due to both. So we increase the GDP. Our human development index, I'm not talking Indian data, I'm talking international data, and human development index also increased. We boosted our software and BPO remarkably, and you may accept that it boosted Indian economy a lot from 1990 to 2000. So we have a lot of opportunity, we got a lot of foreign exchange, so we exported human resource, even the workers we exported to, and we got a lot of money as a remittance. And we had, remember in 1990, we don't have money, foreign dollar, our economy was completely collapsing. To buy oil, for instance, whatever we need from the other country, as I said, we were trading before also globalization. We were buying oils from the Gulf countries and other countries in South America. So we got a lot of money that boosted us. So we got help. We also improve our jewelry and diamond export after processing. We buy diamond, we buy gold, but we process it, especially not in our state, in other states like Gujarat. We got to access to our real estate technology. We got new technology, many conference, our people, earlier we had old technology, many things. This one nobody discussed. And we also brought other kind of technology. I'm not going in details like car, then like Tata brought different technology. But on the other hand, what we failed is it weakened our manufacturing sector, especially from China. We really suffer a lot. Because we did not have proper skill. We had weak research and development by companies. I'm not talking about public sector. It includes public sector also. Just a small example, if you go to the SAIL or you go to the NALCO, the SAIL is as old as POSCO. POSCO was a public sector company too in South Korea. But today, POSCO has the best technology in the world. They produce the best steel because with the research, our investment is zero. Not only that one, if we talk about software, many of you whose friends or family members are in software company, you must be knowing that they will be in the bench. We did not develop any new software. We were only servicing people, just like a laborer. We are writing a program for somebody else. We are doing something else, but we never created our own. We had Hotmail, if some of you have used, Sabir Bhatia created, we had innovation that time. That after that, Google, Facebook, they captured the whole market, the American. We cannot blame them because we didn't have innovation and creativity. So it puts us back. Then second thing also, maybe some of you who are humanity, you may not like my point, but if you are living in an Odisha village, you will realize MGNRGS is a very good program. It boosted rural people like for labor, but actually put out many disadvantages when it comes to manufacturing. Cost went so up. I come from a farmer's family in Kalahandi district. Earlier we used to, like in the farming, I used to say 50, 100 laborers working just for harvesting rice. Now they cannot because it's more expensive than you get a harvester. And in harvester you get the rice immediately. So this is the problem with that. We lost a lot of competitiveness, especially in many things, like in textile. If you go to the international any shop, almost of them you will get the Indian materials, Indian socks, Indian cloths. But today those are replaced by Vietnamese, Chinese, Bangladesh. Textile labor from Bangladesh is really, which will challenge us. Remember, in last 1 year, we are getting textile clothing from Bangladesh almost double. They were not exporting, they are taking cotton from India, they are taking cotton from China, and they are exporting to the whole world. This is what global, when you take, and we have a free trade agreement with Bangladesh, and we have with China from the World Trade, this agreement. So when I come to the, especially Odisha, we have some good things. Our per capita improved, we have to accept. Although I disagree with Professor Das what he said, but if you go to the village, I come from a village, I can see there is a lot of improvement in the quality of life people have. Of course, compared to 30 years ago, Human Development Index also increased. Our number of tourists coming to Odisha has increased, but I will not say it is only due to globalization. The part of privatization investment also plays a role, but tourists basically, when we share knowledge, people know about that. And in school, dropout has decreased, but privatization is increased. In manufacturing, we have increased small level, but still less than the average national level. So these are the things. Then our laborers sometimes get exploited, especially from KBK region, or when the labor migration, you know it very well. Then good things in globalization, we got benefit little bit from the IT industry. Bhubaneswar, as you know, Bhubaneswar and Bangalore, they started at the same time in Hyderabad. But Bhubaneswar remained backward because we didn't have good leadership, we didn't have infrastructure, we didn't have skill, we don't have good, private, good schools, I can say, not privatization, private and public. So I think we lag behind. Today, if there is a new company is coming, like a startup, they prefer Bangalore than the Bhubaneswar, although Bhubaneswar can be cheaper today. Similarly, our livestock population decrease, our animal like if you look at Odisha, there are many things. Then we have poor share now in handloom and handicrafts. And this is what I was pointing you, and the Manrega, what you call in India. If I cannot afford to buy many, I will buy maybe in one. It's exactly same thing. If you have, like if you make a, like even a cotton handloom, it costs 4,000 rupees. Not everybody will buy every time. So this is how we lost. This is how the Bangladeshi products are coming. So in social parameter, we are still made much less in national average, like safe drinking water, telecommunication, poverty. Our tourist has increased, but still not even 1% of the nation. And remember, our population is 3.2% of the nation. So globalization impacted in that case. We could not deliver. Then some of the good thing also happened, although our image also make a really big change for your overall development. Like everywhere as a Odia, when we go outside, they say you come from a poor country, Odisha have nothing, no roads. Surprisingly, when they visit, they find better roads than what they were thinking. So lack of information. We have labor migration. People know that people labor or migrate from Odisha to Kerala, Punjab. I'm talking about the agriculture labor, or Hyderabad for making bricks. And we also are exporting all kind of, from the lower level bricks making to even technical skill, high technical skill. So all these tribal land, forest area, they say Odisha is a remote places. And this comes from, I'm not talking about within the, even outside in the tourist guide. So, but we have some positive thing also. Earlier, not many Indian or Odisha people were making headlines in the nation. Now we have more personality people knows in bureaucracy, in politics. Earlier, Odisha politicians means they used to give like a regional, share, just for a head, but they didn't have influence. But today, as you know, like for instance, Sambit Patra, we may like or we may do not like. That is a different thing for political reason. But he is one of the highest Twitter follower from Odisha, and many people know he has many critics, but he have a lot of fans also all across the India, and he is one of the prime. And of course, I'm not talking about all of you know, we have a advisor to the Prime Minister, Mishra, and we have Reserve Bank. So many people, including our Chief Minister and CAG head, so Reserve Bank head. So we have impacted little to change the image. Now, when I comes to the KBK region, I little bit disagree with here Professor Das and Jagdish Bhagwati, as you know, he's a renowned world-class economist, and he said, he is one of the paper, he said, globalization, people, it's a myth. People do not have data that globalization has decreased poverty. In fact, it has increased poverty. In fact, it has decreased poverty. So this is his data. I don't have anything. I'm not expert in this field, but he said worldwide poverty has reduced because of globalization. So when we look at the Odisha scale, if you look at privatization for globalization, it is more concentrated in specific region, it's coastal Odisha region. Whether it comes to IT, electronics, food park, anything you see, I am going to show you many things. But labor migration from KBK, okay, this is a good thing also because our people are going outside, earning better and coming back. But at the same time, they are facing exploitation, and our industries are concentrated. I'm going to show in next slide. So our economy, KBK economy also boosted. We cannot separate KBK from Odisha and Odisha from the India. So all are interlinked. KBK, many developments have come in KBK also. Infrastructure has improved, village road has improved, national highway has improved. We have to. But if you look at comparative study within the Odisha, when we say backward relation, look at here. Even if you look at agriculture, our, let us say, irrigation from Baleshwar to Ganjam, this is the best, the top. And this I'm giving the scientific data from Indian authors. And so here, if you go official data also, this is the only the most irrigated part. And little bit around Sonpur, Bargarh and Bolangir. Even we have Indravati Dam in Kalahandi, but it's not all part are irrigated yet. These are the all KBK region are poor irrigated except Sonpur. Mayurbhanj, Keonjhar, same thing. Devgarh has a little bit. So this is agriculture. Although they have food production, there are many districts KBK, they are doing remarkably well, despite they are having limited irrigation. If you look at, let us say, industry, all the industry are concentrated by to Ganjam. And few days ago, the Odisha economic, the NH16, 100-kilometer radius of NH16, Odisha government is planning. So then little bit about mining in Keonjhar, but Keonjhar is not getting much benefit. Anugul industry is coming, Sambalpur, Jharsuguda, Sundargarh. So this land. Then tourists, let us say, where people are coming only in the same region, Cuttack, Puri, Bhubaneswar, Chilka. So Chilika. So in this region it's concentrated. Infrastructure in this region, 4-way line, railway, highway, best means others we have highway, but not like here we have airport. So all is concentrated in one. So what is happening? Okay, there is regional imbalance, you know, the feeling is coming. At the same time, our money generated in Odisha is going to the nearby state, largely benefiting Visakhapatnam for health and commerce. Education is going. Raipur takes large part of share from the western Odisha, Bargarh to Malkangiri, especially up to Nabarangpur. So then we are losing our money. Our farmers generate hard-earned money, they spend there. So at the end, the business they are boosted, but we are losing because our lack of vision to support these parts. So now I will show you some statistics about the tribal population. Backwardness is related to tribal also, because you must look at this one, this deep one. This is the least tribal populated, and these are where the most industry come, everything comes. Where are the tribal located? The KVK, this part, and Mayurbhanj, Keonjhar, Sundargarh. Sundargarh has some mining, is doing fine, but look at here. So these parts, two sects are really ignored. Now let us look at, when we do policy, what we need to think. This is our present problem. This is what we have. So how to resolve it? Then first, when we talk about globalization, even though emotionally whatever we say, we may realize by the world today, it is not like 1961. And evolution, if you look at how science evolved, like from ideology, if you go to from religion, from ideology, or from the philosophy, how to science, today we will be dominated, we will be influenced completely. For instance, digitalization. Our India government is also planning to improve. It will have much more. Whether you like or not, you do, like the Facebook. You may say your son don't use Facebook, but you sometime we cannot avoid it. Facebook or social media or any electronics. Now it is becoming a necessary for us. Like food, they are asking internet. Like if you go to any other country, internet should be free, they say, like a food. So same thing, what will come is automation. Like it will be a really automation. Many things you don't need to. Like today, we are actually making the rectangular land, if you are ready to cut, so it will be easier for harvesting. But when it comes automation with artificial intelligence, just they will put the mark, and even if you have irregular shape, they can do it. Telemedicine. So there will be a lot of improvement here, and we will be influenced. Suddenly it will change. Skill labor. We may not need laborer just to pick up, like Dhanabasta in Odia we say, but we will have high tech unit to somebody who is skilled to, let us say, how to handle a robotics. Like in humanity, those of you who work, we have people who are working on digital humanity now. You see, it is the emerging field, but in India, nobody has started to understand this, even in humanity discipline, like social science or political science. So these are the area we need to. Education reform is unnecessary. Food technology, remarkable, it will improve. Like we may think agriculture, like Professor Das was saying, but the technology today, Israel will produce more, or America will produce more food than us. Why they need? Why we need to? Now we export a lot of basmati rice. So technology will improve, like soilless, hydroponic, 3D, like if we have a big room, like in the different layer, they can cultivate in hydroponic agriculture, let us say rice, they can, giving exact temperature, exact all conditions, so that you get better food. And this is not, I am not talking about using chemical fertilizers. They can use even organic fertilizers using this technology. They use bacteria and virus and it is improving. Don't think that we have only organic from the traditional way. There are technologies improving. So machinery will go. Similarly, renewable energy. We have a lot of coal, but we have not exploited. But now slowly, nobody will like coal. Then suddenly, we will have realized now solar power. We have a lot of opportunity, but Odisha has not done much. Means we started together with the nation. Our population is 3.2%, but our solar energy at moment is 1.4%. And 2022, our aim is also 1.5%. Look at how backward we are. Even something which is very new, just like IT revolution, I think we have started losing from the solar power also. Wind power, hydroelectricity. Sometimes people don't like, but there are many things. I don't have time. I can explain to you why it is not always true that you have only pond. All this NGO, and I personally I have experienced the NGO are also monitor from top down bottom, like in Beirut, where are the centers that they control 60-70 countries. The head of the NGO lives there. Some of them are my friend, but this is how it works. But I don't want to go personal things and confuse you. Similarly, clean product, clean environment. In India, one thing will come like stray animals in public places. This is slowly coming, and government is planning this one. Then saving water. Rice is use lot of water. We consume lot of water, and we say we don't have water. Now new technology, pot drop more crop. Like this will come. This will come so fast. If not our country, in other country, we will lose it if we don't prepare. So in India, in policy wise, when you say recommendation, I recommend first thing is MD energy is not good unless you link with the skill development. You don't give, like freebies is not good. You have to skill, you have to educate them. And academic has a good role. You have to invest in education, skill them and pay them, don't worry. Then so that in long term, they will pay back to the nation in terms of the productivity. Similarly, linking raw minerals in India, in Odisha, large part of export, Professor Das was talking about agriculture. Really, we don't even, not even 1% our export is agriculture to other states. And many things we import. Many of you know about common is potato, you say, or fish, this thing, because this comes to the market. Nobody talks about wheat. Now everybody in the cities, in Odisha's towns, we consume roti, right? 99% of wheat we import from other states. So manufacturing pharma raw materials we are getting from the China, and now we are exporting pharmaceutical. This is a big, really, we are dependent on China. This is the big one. We can make our own raw materials. Boosting electrical components, electronics, still we import from Chinese product in the local, legally or illegally, both way. Focusing on renewable energy, we should focus. Focusing on food processing, fishery, and animal husbandry. I will talk about Odisha in next. Cotton processing, I will talk Odisha specifically in this way. So first, what Odisha and KBK region can do is, now we have a good opportunity in post-COVID. Now, every country are no more looking at like global trading, free trade. It will be changed. Scenario will change. Like our Prime Minister has already said, Atmanirbhar Bharat. We are going back to the same. We will have trade relation only. Whatever we need, we do. Then we protect our things. So what we can, and first thing, our academic has a lot of work. All of you are good scholars. Don't go to the traditional way thing. Come out of the box. Go a little bit out. Think about, broaden your skill, then we will have critical analysis. Professor Das was saying, I don't believe data because of this, because we don't trust, because our academician, we are not generating data in India. If you go to the other country, government generates, academician generates their own data. We don't have data. We only trust government data. All the analysis I looked about globalization in Odisha, either they have ideological bias, or they have, only theory, this should be, this should be, this should be. There is no data collection. We are out doing, like my colleague, German colleague here says, we are in sports. India doesn't produce any sports because of, and he found something on his own and he was telling me, I don't have time, but we don't have study other than only we have all traditional old theory, which is 50, 60 communist, socialist, stuck in 50 years. World has moved on. We don't, now nobody likes capitalist, nobody likes communist, nobody likes socialist. Now we have a protected capitalism, which is like a mix of socialism and capitalism. This is how world is moving. But our mind, we has, as academician, we have to grow more research. Even human in humanity, you have many scientific tools, like in archaeology they use, even political science they are using scientific tools, analysis. So we have a lot of work to do as academicians, so that then only we will develop skill. Now government is saying only skill development, it will not work because our education is poor. So 2 or 3 workshops will not actually, the skill development means you should also able to do research and develop, refine and better product, so that you will keep continuing capture the market. This is where we are failing. In Odisha we are failing too much. And then opportunity to equalize in the national level. So India government has a policy, look at policy, we can take advantage, we are taking advantage, government is giving different benefits, but we are not doing same thing in our Odisha. In Odisha, in my point, Odisha should make policy look southwest policy, like KBK region, especially KBK, Kandhamal, Gajpati, this region, part of Barbar, like Padampur, and a little bit focus on the north, Mayurbhanj and Keonjhar. And I have a plan for that, how it can be done. And we can also for boost manufacturing, like Uttar Pradesh government has done, one product, one district. So then metal, we are exporting minerals. This is where all the developed countries which we are seeing, they are actually rich. Like if you, I think everybody say humanist approach, and they want to be humanity, but in the world, the practical thing, if you see, not the theory, the country who has succeeded in this is the Scandinavian country, Sweden, Finland, those countries, and Germany, little bit Japan. Look at there, what they are focused, the small scale industry. And the small scale industry has produced a big country, a big companies. So this small scale industry, we are exporting only raw materials. We can do finished metal products, finished agriculture process product, then administrative reform. So administrative reform, I will focus first, because this is where our bottleneck is. Our administration takes years, sometimes months. Like we have to digitalize. Like we are doing, it takes 5 minutes what I am doing for my office as administrators at a department chair, it takes 2-3 minutes. Or for my, in India, same thing, if I buy a chemical, it takes 1 week sometime, because always want the file moving. So we can do online everything, and paperless work. Even land record is a very big serious problem in Odisha. As you know, many kind of dispute. If you go in in KVK, we have a lot of dispute between even personal. Sometimes it can be very revengeful. So we can develop technology based, like GPS based land demarcation, like our RIR corrupt. So if you bring technology, exactly you can point, this is your point, and you can resolve. In Bhubaneswar, you know it very well, Bhubaneswar Cuttack region also. So then online based approval system, then government, like for example, if you ask a road, we say, you know, regional feeling, but everything is focused in coastal, but village in Puri or village in Kalahandi is same. You see, it will not change. It comes together, all of them. So if a road is, let's say, in bad condition in Puri, and you write to the RD department is functioning well, I appreciate that one. They will say it comes on the Panchayat Raj department, then Panchayat Raj department doesn't respond. Then our people do not care. People care the road should be resolved. They do not care whether it is coming from Panchayat Raj department or RD department or OR department. This connection in Odisha is missing. Is completely missing. This reform is needed. People's participation in government, when we are giving view, they should, like any other government, strengthen the social media work, then strengthening the telecommunication, official phone call, grievance should be recorded for transparency. I don't want to say, but you call my university, mine is a small university, and even if you call the top office in Odisha, and you can see how people talk politely and respectfully, even whether you are a qualified person or a farmer or a laborer, you will see the difference how they behave. I have called many times. You know it. Most of you live in Odisha and how they behave. Even the peon behaves like he is a great administrative, because this is not he is a great man. This makes him smaller, because this is a part of skill development. So this comes the skill, because this is how you get business. This is how you get the tourists. So this is how people are inclined to go there. And one way of looking is, if you look at south part and east part center location about coming around Bhubaneswar region. West part, if you look at the coming around Kesinga, this region. So what I suggest, what the plans should be, like Odisha government has already made this, this is already, Odisha government doesn't need to do anything. Mostly central government is doing. Central government is doing also another coastal highway to Port Lake. Odisha doesn't really do anything. Only they need to encourage whoever private player is coming on central government, and we have big really plants and factories are coming. But unfortunately, even the textile plants Odisha government is planning is here instead of cotton generating region. I will explain it here. So before that, first thing for skill development, if it is not doing anything, at least one skill development around in KBK, central place of KBK in this region to develop the skill. So like central government has a large technological center, that should come something like another thing they should plan. This is basic needs. This is nothing like we are doing. Skill in agriculture also. It's not about only, it goes for industry, even how to do better agriculture, the skilling them. So all of them. Similarly, we have many dams and we are importing Andhra fish, but we can do fishery in dams. We can do more check dams. Some NGO do not like because it doesn't give them, benefits. But, check dams and ponds, both should be existing. Both should be there. Otherwise, we cannot, because in the local level, if there is a drought, how you will get water? So linking canals are not bad scientifically. There are a lot of studies. Then forest, always say we are cutting. No, that is not survivable in anywhere. If you go to the even Scandinavian country like Finland, they do, Norway, they do, cyclic forest is best. You allow 10% or 20% every 5-6 years. Keep cycling the forest so that it generates revenue, it generates, and in KVK region, it has good potential. Another thing I will talk about that when we say KVK region should be forest and this area we will have only industry. This is something I don't say because people will feel suffocated. If not today, after 50 years, like Delhi and Bombay, if you live, you know it how life is. And you live in Berlin or if you live in another city in the world, you will see the difference, especially in all this country I am talking about, not the United States like New York, but you will see how lively life is, how environmentally healthy is. Bhubaneswar, many of you already you experience how it is. It will be a catastrophe if we continue to do like that. So it is both way, like animal husbandry, the plan. So one plan I think myself is Odisha should like Chennai, Kolkata. This is the central government project. We are influenced by. Always their focus is here. Kolkata to Chennai, this route. So we have 4 line, we have 6 lane now, and we have railway, we have 5th line or 6th line they are planning. They will continue to plan more because it is easy for them, it is less cost. But we need to force them. There is another can be alternate route, Kharagpur to Bijawara, which will make Kolkata, Chennai route via Odisha's like Baripada, Fulbani, Bhavani Patna, Malkangiri, Motu. So this can be about this is now covering Odisha's 400 kilometers. This covers 750 kilometers. And this infrastructure, if we push, you have to make like Biju Patnaik made, like Paradip Port. Central will not do. Odisha government has to do a railway. For highway, which they don't need to do. Only few 4 lane. Most of them have national highway, like Kolkata to Baripada, already a national highway. Motu to Bhavani Patna, already a national highway. In between also, Baripada to Talche, there are some highway. Fulbani, there are some national highway. There are some state highway. In some places, to strengthen it, there are some village road. Just like they plan for Biju Expressway, they can do a expressway, 4-lane expressway, and a railway. It will encourage, if somebody come as a tourist to work somewhere here, it will be easy for them. He will be inclined to go to Puri or Bhubaneswar or Konark. But if somebody is in Puri or Bhubaneswar, he will not be inclined to go to, let us say, anywhere, Daringbadi or, because, he say, okay, it's a forest, why should I go? So this is something like that. This will really boost our economy. It will create labor. It will, many way it will develop. So in this way, and if you compare like 100-kilometer radius of this one, we are only here, but now it is the central part. So 100-kilometer means you can cover many parts, like Sonpur, all KVK district will come. All part of both Keonjhar, Mayurbhanj, Jajpur will also come, some of them. Baleshwar will also come, some of them. And you will see Devgarh, which are not at all touched, like Devgarh. Nobody. So all these things can be possible if we change the policy. One, it will dramatically change everything. Infrastructure is a really great boost, and it will also, state government can argue, it will make the shortest route from Kolkata to Hyderabad, and it will also make an alternate route to Kolkata to Bangalore. So there are many ways state government can, but state government has to make a policy, use MGNRA to the metal work. So this can be done, but that needs a lot of commitment from the state government. Similarly, food parks just for processing foods. These are the different places we can do. Like these are the state government that I am giving. They have not done. They proposed in 2016. 5 years, nothing has been done. Although they say the Raigada, Khorda, they say only Khorda they are doing. Raigada is nothing. So this is how is creating regional imbalance also, and some regions are not getting benefited. One important thing I will say here, look at here, this is the KBK districts, and I was asked to talk something on KBK district. Look at where the cotton comes from Odisha, mainly the KBK districts. Balangir, Kolahandi is the highest, Raigada, Balangir, Nuapada, Nabrangpur, little bit Korapur. This is the only main cotton producing state. But industries, textile industries, as I said, are in Bhubaneswar, Bhadrak, and Gopalpur. This is the plan of the central government. But look at here, what we can do, how the farmers can be benefited. Our cotton is now going out. It is going to Bangladesh. India export about $1 billion cotton to Bangladesh or more even. So look at but we are not creating, and we are getting our textile for handloom. Sonpur is famous, for Sambalpuri, Kolahandi is also famous, Kotpad is also known, Kotpad is handloom work. We are not getting much benefits. We are getting from outside and they are using it. Our cotton, we can have central government scheme like there is a Solar Chakra mission that can be, implemented, train the farmers. So instead of getting cotton from them, get them processed cotton like a suta, what we call like suta, or they process it and they get, and then we can create. We can go from the small farmers to, we can go up to the fashion designer, top fashion designer, like I'm talking about international scale, so high level. So it generates a lot of employment. It boosts the farmers. So farmer can be skilled. Then they will make textile. From the textile, they will make different clothes. Different clothes, they can make also fashion. So there are many aspects. It will generate one of the highest employment generating thing. But Odisha is not doing anything because we have a lot of gap. Our workers from many places, especially from the Ganjam district, are going and working in Surat. But now slowly they are also affected. As I said, the import will affect from Bangladesh. Bangladesh is already double last in 1 year. So they will increase because they are skilled and they are cheaper than us. So we have to make our technology or skill so quick that we produce more, because we cannot go back, we cannot reduce our labor cost now. We have to produce more to compensate that in the same time. So this is what one thing we, garment factory, other things that can be focused in KVK region. This government has not taken anything. They are only, sometimes some minister comes, but I don't trust the ministers in this government, because many things they have said, like they said, there will be agriculture university in KVK, already 6 years past. So nothing, I think if you look at like a perspective from KVK, really it is very depressing, the way central government or state government focus on the major project. Only they see it's just like, freebies, you get poverty, okay, give this scheme, the rural development little bit, but this goes to every district, but KVK is only highlighted. But big projects or big things that will have a long-term implication, they are not doing much. Similarly, aluminium smelter, the the bauxite goes from Koraput largely to Nalco, but the Nalco established park in Onugul in the coal rich region. And whoever lives in Onugul and Talcher, they know how suffocated, because we have to get rid of this coal technology. If we ask them to make the company, check them, produce hydroelectricity, or use solar technology, make a solar plant and generate electricity and produce alumina. But you don't need to go to Onugul for that now. You can do in the same place in Koraput or Vedanto Kenmeni, Kolahandi, or Raigada, Utkal Alumina Kenmeni. So you will have a lot of downstream industry here. Now, even though they have mining, Professor Das was saying about Keonjhar. Keonjhar has the same problem like Raigada. So same thing. The mine, it goes to the Jajpur from Keonjhar, Kalinganagar or other places. So same thing here. We have to limit mining as an export, the minerals. We don't need to. We have to focus on small scale industry to produce the finished product. And we have to develop skill. And remember, globalization is not going to stop now here. We have to be practical. Theory we can say many things. And already I say linking MGNRES with the skill development. Another problem I was talking about, the forest, about the mentality of state government is forest means KBK or other like Kandhamal or Keonjhar or Mayurbhanj. This is their responsibility. In coastal Odisha, no, we will look at the land they have already put for industry. I think this is not fair for people who live in the coastal Odisha. Not today, maybe after a few years. Today they are happy with the industry, but when they will be suffocating, then they will realize they need forest. The land reserve in the coastal area Odisha, already we have saturated. Some land should be used for forestry themselves. And forestry can be a cyclic forestry. Same thing, citing forest, reserve forest in many projects doesn't come. I know especially from Koraput and Kalahandi, many projects, they show this is a reserve forest and we cannot give, it has to be shifted. And many times I have even proved from RTI, I don't want to sound but political, but this is the fact, I have data, they will say there is no land. And they say because this is a policy change. Government can convert the reserve forest to government land and take the plant, use this plant for commercial purpose and generate another forest in another location where it is necessary. Then whole Odisha will be lively. Everybody, it will be equally, forest should be equally distributed. And one district, one product, Odisha can focus. And one thing also we have to keep, when we talk about large industry, always we think there will be employment. No, large industry never gives big employment, but we need them. If you want to be globalized, we have to capture global market. We need large industry. This is a fact. Even though whatever the produce in any country, even the conservative country. So this is just like in a family, we have a male and female. This is a fact. So large, small, all should be there. But if we focus, we cannot afford small for the sake of the large. We have to balance. And small creates more job. So that means we skill them, then only Odisha can compete the globalization, compete the rival country like Bangladesh, where we can compete. Like we should challenge, our skills should challenge. Odisha is a poor country, we have a less compared to if you go to Punjab or Mumbai. So we still have benefits of, our cost, labor cost is cheaper. Then I was asking many people when I travel in train from Ganjam and our KBK region, all of them said that if we have an opportunity, similar opportunity, we will not go to Ganjam. They go for 5-6 months from. So this is exactly the same thing if we create the job. Same thing, since you are academicians, I would like also tell something about, little bit about education. Sometimes I am seeing education in education in Odisha is completely politicized. Even the teacher unions, I was listening one of the teacher, and he himself doesn't know what is national education policy, but he was talking about based on that, they don't like the central government. But this is, you have to read it. You have to compare worldwide the education system. We talk about our Swami Vivekananda, or we talk about Rabindranath Tagore. We only are just like counting the tree, not interested in the mango. Exactly same thing is going here. Name doesn't need to be, but if you look at the American education today, incidentally, my wife teaches in American school and my son also go. And when I see how she is skilled and what she is reading, and I find exactly what they are researching, they are adopting the same method. What Swami Vivekananda said, although they don't name it, but we should do that. Like same thing, our schooling system has to be completely reformed. We have to completely take out politics from the teacher union, all these things. That is a union for salary, other thing, but ideological, I will not encourage them. I have not seen any school, good school internationally, really they are involved in such thing. And language in the primary school, this is a good proposal in this plan to have local language. Our Odia language will not survive if you go, like even if I was talking, if you look at the language also, same thing, say a small pocket, a coastal Odisha language is focused and that is always given as a literary, okay, that's fine. But if somebody is learning, especially if you go to the labor class, interact with them. You see, like middle class us, we are easy to adopt the language literary, but if you go to the labor class, a tribal, you will really feel difficulty. The guy who went from the Sundargarh and he is doing research in Germany, I think some of the Odia channels they showed him, also you might have seen, he was telling him how difficult it is. The meanings are completely different, and if we bring the local language in district wise, then actually we enrich the Odia language. We not only compensate the regional feeling, but also our Odia literature would be really very strengthened. So this is something our language people are really very adamant, I will say, in academics. They need to truly relook it and really completely, like in other country, I think they don't care, because this is what, and anyhow, you know, in even if you go to Bhubaneswar and Cuttack, in practical sense, I am saying Hindi and English are more spoken than Odia in many places. Similarly, our university, we have a lot of problem in Odisha. Don't have how we can develop skill development, because our education system itself bad. There is no link between, you see, I was talking about this ideological, because the humanities in India don't interact with science. We have collaboration, energy policy, you know, our engineers work with the political science professor like us, for material chemistry professor. Sometimes we give a research plan together. So you can look at policy making perspective of energy, you can look at chemical perspective, you can technological perspective. It comes complete, but we have no interaction. And this is because not only I'm talking about science and humanity, you will see in many school and college, but what about engineering? What about medicine? You will surprise that humanity people work with medicine professor. So this is what we are missing. And what is problem is, I am the principal or the vice chancellor. I don't want to interact from a technical college to medical school. We have our ego, and then politicians have their own ego. So this is why we are not doing. So I propose, you know, like there is a very excellent book. You are academicians, so I wanted to read this book. Worldwide, there is a lot of experience. China has really ranked a lot. They combine many small institutions. You don't need to be in one campus if you are in the same city, like Utkal University or CET or Capital Law College. For example, Ravenshaw College, SCB Medical College, Law College, Cuttack. So, or your college itself can be part of a university, and it can be different, you know, there are many, I have listed some of them, but there can be a good study, and they have really dramatically improved. And this has to be enforced. Otherwise, nobody. In our university, we have a medical school, which is like a big medical college, and even bigger than, we have top level in the top medical school in the whole Middle East, best one, and hospital. And we have top engineering college. Our faculty comes from Harvard, Stanford. We have science discipline. We still are growing. We have food science. We have agriculture university, but still we have no problem on this one, because if you have one head, then automatically, and we have different dean or different, you can do that, but this has to be forcefully. I know it's difficult because I live in Burla and Sambalpur University, and I know how things go. You know, a lot of politics goes and power play, and what we have to look at in education point of view, we have to look at that skill development point of view. We don't have to look at in administrative, and the Odisha government is exactly doing. They want to do administrative, which is easier for them, at the way the higher education department does. And recently, you know about the university reform senate and other things. So this is something I think we have to keep writing. We have to critically analyze and talk about that one. Same thing when it comes to health sector. Sometimes we don't have to look at health sector as a only providing health. It also creates business. Same thing, national institution. This is the national institution. I don't want to talk more, but Odisha should go to first at least one national institution in one undivided district at least. Now, if you look at, they are concentrated mostly in Bhubaneswar region, Cuttack region, and we have now in one Sundargarh, Sambalpur and Ganjam, and we have this is one DRDO lab in Baleshwar. But we at least show that, this is also like a small scale industry. As you know, most of our university has a local development program. So we integrate with the become business. Institution really play a big role, and national institutions means people from national level will come, better quality people will come, competition will come. So health sector same way. Primary health, as I said, if you look at Jagatsinghpur or Kalahandi, there is no difference, honestly, except maybe number of doctors, because we have not produced more doctors. So one thing, the policy wise, is we are now looking at generating doctors in a statewide competition. I think one way of decentralization. What about if we take doctors or select student, and any first class student can do in a district wise, although we are doing also national way, state way. So district wise, maybe some of the backward districts where there is less doctors, especially if you have a study, and this is what job of a political science professor is, to get the data. How many local people are inclined to go to their district? And I see from my district and Nuapara district, most of the local, finally they come back near to locality. And this is a common feeling for anyone. So this may boost it, one thing. And second thing, we have to develop tertiary health. We have new medical college, but there is a lot of issues about. There is also, for example, KBK has 7 aspiring districts, and out of 10 districts, central government gives 6 medical colleges. And you will not believe, the other 3 got 3 completely, like Dhenkanal, Kandhamal, and Gajpati. But out of 7 districts, KBK got 2. One was state, one they in Kolahandi they have proposed newly, and they are also converted to the central sponsored aspiration. So look at this one, how out of 7 districts, it's not genuine. It is out of 7 districts, at least you should have given 4. So this is something the state government is really partial or biased, I can say. So this is my idea in changing the policy during globalization, because all are linked. So this is what, I'm sorry if I take little extra time. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, sir, for your mesmerizing uh, presentation over the KVK region and the global impact of globalization on Odisha. Thank you. Now I would like to request our last but not the least speaker, Mr. Mr. Suvendu Senapati sir, to deliver his talk. Thank you, Mr. Suvendu Senapati.
Yes. Good afternoon, all. Thanks to Dr. Patra and Dr. Das for elaborating the concept of globalization and effects on Odisha. And thanks, Mr. Dr. Jena, for inviting me here. And I'm grateful to you all to share my thoughts with you. First of all, I want to introduce what globalization is. As far as we think globalization, it, it is the process of interactions and integration among the economies, the peoples, the governments, the companies, in all spheres of their life, just like education, culture, and all social factors. So, uh, but the concept of economic development and globalization can be traced back to before Common Era, when we have the concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, and with the people of India seeing the whole world as a single home. Just like in a home, there is no geographical separations, no, it is a mutual interaction among the members of the family for the growth of the home and growth of the family. Like that, due to globalization, we are supposed to have a growth that will change the standard of living of all the people and all the countries and all the economies. As far as concerned, the economic growth of India can be divided into 3 types. One is before independence, that is when it was a colonial rule of this government. Next, after 47 to 91, and the modern time from 91 to till now. Before 1947, the structure of India economy was morely dependent on British government. The sole purpose of the British colonial rule in India was to reduce the country to being a feeder economy for Great Britain's rapidly growing modern industrial base. They extract raw material from India and other colonial countries and solve the finished products, and these countries are producing just like a market for them. The British government, they don't think of the development of the India. They only treat us for the supplier for the raw materials for their home country, and they use the finished products for the for us, and we are the market for them. Simultaneously, we don't have any economic development during that time. But after on the eve of independence, we got independence in 1947, and at that time, our political leader they think to adopt what type of economy that is good for the country. At that time, most of the economy of the country is dependent on agriculture. Around 80% of population they depend on agriculture, and the contribution of agriculture to the GDP of the country is around 50%. But after the independence, we have so much issues for the development, just like one re-establishment of a independent nation, the ruling system, and establishment of the inhabitants. They have transferred from immigrants from other parts of the country. Like this, so many issues are there. But we track the situation considerably well, and we got a very good economic policy, and we plan for five-year plan. First, we think agriculture is the prime motive force to develop our economy. But simultaneously, when we think of making our country agriculture sufficient, it could not be successful. In the first year 5-year plan or second 5-year plan, we are somewhat successful. But later on, we just change our primary force from agriculture to industry. Then after from industry to agriculture, we just struggle. Whereas in the same time, when Japan, China has the same conditions before 1950, but at the same time, China it make agriculture as his prime motive force, and simultaneously he gets self-sufficient in agriculture. Later on, continues a great for the success of China. That's why China is in the globalized economy. China is one of the most powerful economy, controlling around 80% of the global business. But in from 1947 to 1991, we followed this type of economy, and we toggle between from this to that, and so many, many serious success measures could not happen. But after 1991, we face a very serious financial crisis. That is, we are lack of our foreign reserve. As a result, we have to borrow money from IMF. And while borrowing money from foreign reserve from IMF put some conditions on us. That is, we have to open our economy to the rest of the world. So seriously, this modern globalization takes place after 1991. When we opened our economy to rest of the world, we reduced the tariff, quotas, and anti-dumping taxes over all the foreign products, and we became the member of World Trade Organization. So by this globalization, the effect of globalization should be benefit to all. That is a mutualism concept in which both the countries should be benefited. But in India, this globalization occur one side. We are not much more benefited from this globalization. Before that, there was a time when most of the regions were economically self-sufficient. Locally produced foods, fuels, and raw materials were generally processed for the local consumption. Trade between different regions were quite limited. Today, the economy of most of the countries are so interconnected that they form part of a single independent global economy. So, if you just think globalization, it is just many types. One is economic type, social, interaction of economical, social, and political thoughts. Economies that trade with many others and have many trade barriers and economic globalized. Social, a measure of how easily information and ideas pass between people in their own country and between different countries. Political, the amount of political cooperations there in between the countries. So why globalization is necessary? Why I think the globalization? What are the basic factors contributing the globalization? That is one. First is improved communications. The development of communication technologies such as internet, email, mobile phones have been vital to the growth of globalization because they'll help MNCs to operate throughout the world. The development of satellite TV channels such as Sky, CNN have also provided worldwide marketing avenues for the concept and products of globalization. Its causes second is improved transport. The transport within the hour we can transfer from any part of the country to any part of any other part of the world, and substantially the times reduced, and the world is just in a reachable time, in a minimum time we can reach any part of the world. And most important, third is the free trade agreements in which we open our economy to global access. People, we have agreements not to just bear any foreign goods or any other things. Fourth is global banking, then the growth of MNCs. So the due to this these factors, the globalization takes place considerable in India as well as in Odisha also. So what is the effects? Its effects are changed food supply, division of labor, less job security, and damage to the environment, increase in anti-globalization protest like this. So in India, with the people of Odisha, they are globalized in the one sense, means the foreign countries they are getting benefited, the foreign powers they are getting benefited by exploiting the resources of Odisha. In an economy, we have 3 to 4 factors for growth of an economy. One is capital, one is labor, third is land, and fourth is technology. But in Odisha, we have all the natural resources, we have the much more manpower also, and capital is not a major impediment. Still we are poor because poor in the sense we have everything but we don't have the entrepreneurship quality, we don't have the mindset, we have the slavery mindset. That's why we are poor, and we cannot utilize our resources in a efficient manner. That's why we are exporting iron ore instead of exporting cast iron, yeah, wrought iron to different parts of the world. And those other countries, they extract iron ore from us in a cheaper prices, even up, and we are importing iron products from them. So this is making us poor from day to day. And in the sense of development, what we think that we are developed, in the race of development, we have advanced, no doubt we have advanced due to globalization, we have advanced, but that advancement rate is too poor. And while other parts of the world, other countries whom are getting exported the raw materials, they have advanced in a more rapid space, but we are advanced in the latest this trade, and still and they are getting benefited from our culture, means our materials and our resources. Second thing is labor. In Odisha, the labor, they are not getting adequate employment. They are going different part of the country, even different part of the world for getting their livelihood at a very cheaper price. First thing is at a very cheaper price, and second thing is that they have no other options to do in Odisha also, because in a state like Odisha, we have different resources. We have so many political avenues to do all those things, but we are not getting all those things done here, because of lack of entrepreneurship or lack of political will. We the people of in Odisha, we are going for country state like Gujarat, Kerala, Punjab for making living in a least price for easily livelihood, and we were exploited a lot there. So for the development of our country and the virtue of this globalization, we must think about what causes the impediments for developing in our state. The level of education is a prime impediment in Odisha. The education that is making normal human being to the human capital, the education that to be done for the growth of every human being, every thought process of every human being, and it will make an simple human being as human capital. So this education system, it has been makes us impaired. We are not that much educated. The global standard education that we are getting in Odisha, that is not adequate to capture employment inside outside at a very lucrative wage rate and all. So we hear whatever we are doing only to just getting a national average or more than national average, that we are getting this much educated, this much literate, this much people are getting literate, but the level of education is quietly decreased, means, on quietly downgraded. So we people, we think of earning, living in dollars, while really we are living in money. So this is what I want to say here, that in a country, a state like Odisha, which is largely dependent on agriculture and self-dependent, here prime objective of the government and the people of Odisha to make ourselves self-sufficient in agriculture first, while we are just importing most of the agricultural products from other parts of the country, and it is just making us ocean day by day. Naturally, the young people, the young laborer of Odisha, they are going outside for dadan or anything else, and here we are, our agricultural land is uncultivated, and we are facing so many problems in food supply and food security also. Second thing is that the impact of FDI, due to the impact of FDI and the advent of global companies, global MNCs in Odisha, there is only one concept: they want to just exploit the natural resources of the state. We have all the natural resources, so they are coming to Odisha for extracting the natural resources at cheaper prices, and they will be getting benefited much from this. We, as we are not able to just process all those mines and all those natural resources here, so there is no alternative to get foreign reserve and to explore, to open our state to the other parts of the world and other MNCs. They are here, they use our raw material, and they use machineries, and they use the labors also from here, but only they think of their own profit. There is no CSR, or they don't think about the people of Orissa. People of Orissa at a very cheaper price, we are going to other parts of this country, where in our own state there is so many avenues, so many MNCs are also coming, and we are facing, still we are facing the serious problem of unemployment. So due to this, as a normal sequence supply globalization, the good things should be productivity of productivity of the economy should be increased, and the people should get high standard of living, and increase foreign capital should flow to our state, and quality products and improved products should be available in the local market, and increase foreign trade should be there, but neither of the benefits we are not getting. We are just getting exploited by the foreign powers from day by day, and living just like before independence. What the situation of India now, the situation of Odisha is like that. Only the British power that has been replaced by the capitalist, and the people of Odisha in the, we are in a phase of pseudo development. Actually, this is not a development; it is just a illusion that we are developed, but we are in the same state as before, in the having that lack of mindset to improve, and only thing that can be achieved, and only thing that can make us develop is only proper education and change of this slavery mindset. Once we change this mindset, and once the people of our their rights and their resources they have, they can, our state Orissa can become one of the advanced state of the country. Thank you, sir.
thank you. Hello, thank you, uh, thank you, Suvendu sir. And now I'd like to request Mr. Shubham Das, the co-convener of the webinar, to start the questionnaire session. We have to take only few questions for Dr. Kumar Bardas, for Dr. Digambara Patra and Suvendu Senapati from YouTube live and the chat box of Google Meet. So the floor is for Shubham Das to ask the questions of the audiences.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. There are 5 questions for Professor Das. Sir, shall I read all the questions at a time, or I will take 2 or 3 out of that? Professor Kumar Das, please unmute yourself. I'm requesting Professor Kumar Das, please unmute yourself. Sir?
Yes, I'm available.
Okay,
I'm
sir.
available.
Sir, shall I take all the 5 questions for you, or shall I take 1 or 2 out of?
Yeah. Take all the questions. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Sir, one question is why there is unhealthy and lack of food security mostly in tribal areas. Another question is what is the impact of globalization on culture of Odisha? Then the third question is yes, sir, culture of Odisha. Then the third question is how can we address the issue of growing destitution among the marginalized communities like the tribal communities in Odisha, who seems to be the real victims of neoliberal capitalism?
This is the fourth question or fifth question? This is marginal.
This is the third question. Then fourth question is why there is a little protest or say political activism. May that be from political parties or from the people regarding the uneven development of globalization. Then the last question is, Odisha being a state of full natural resources and minerals with stable government for a longer period of time, why it is not so developed yet and dependent upon West Bengal, Maharashtra and Andhra Pradesh? Thank you, sir.
Okay, so let me start with the last question. Last question, let me react. The stable government is stable, no doubt. Politically, we have no problem. Leadership is okay. Our chief minister is the best chief minister in the whole country. Honest, people say honest, sincere, efficient, best chief minister. Okay, but the question remains to be answered: why, how, Odisha, in all respect, in production, in investment, in everything, Odisha's list is towards 20 below 23rd. There are 30 states. Odisha's rank in investment, in terms of investment, ease of doing business, in everything, industrialization, not industries. It's not number game. So in everything, India, Odisha is lying towards the end of the ladder. But chief minister is number one. How this is also a question. Political stability is a misnomer. It's political stability because there is no alternative. There is no alternative. Tina is also applies to Bhubaneswar politics of Odisha. There is no alternative. That's why the whole thing continues. And we think this government is the best government, and this chief minister is the best chief minister. Fact remains, India may be independent. Odisha is not independent at all. It has to be decolonized. It is still continuing under bureaucracy. The new colonial system continues in Odisha, and it will continue, it will perpetuate. That is the problem. It's not political stability, it's the stability of the bureaucracy. In globalization, one of the conditions is debureaucratization, delicensing, decontrol, disinvestment, everything happened. But debureaucratization did not happen, neither decentralization. Decentralization is one of the conditionality of globalization. Debureaucratizing is one of the conditionality of the globalization. These two, decentralization. We had liberalization. Purpose is to decentralize, but decentralize instead of decentralization, we have now more and more centralization. Everything is controlled at one state, one place, that is Bhubaneswar. Professor Patra was telling nicely, there is always unbalanced economic growth, and that is the reason why this protest, the same fourth question, the protest continues, that is legitimate. The protest among the people continues, and because of unbalanced growth, because of unbalanced development pattern everywhere, and the tribal protest against the established industries. In this kind, Odisha is the best state to give the example. Why there is protest? If it is for the people, the people will protest. Because people know from the past. For example, Sundargarh. I am from Sundargarh. I know the protest still continues among the Sundargarh people against outclass steel plant, which was 60 years before. Still, then people are not compensated, and compensation in terms of a salary, in terms of money, is not compensation at all. Compensation to me does not give any benefit to my posterity, to my grandchild, my grandchildren. They do not get any benefit, but I get the benefit and give my land. So that's why displacement, migration, the post-displacement, development is not by suppression. Development is not under the bullet. Development must be by participation. So the industrial development, the tribal protest continues because of uneven development, and the benefit, they do not understand the one generation. The loss is for multi-generation, but the benefit goes to only one generation, if at all. If at all, salary or a job or a land for land or some compensation, the ROR, the Rehabilitation Policy Act, the policy that has only one aspect, that they compensate. The compensation is nothing. Therefore, the protest, and there is also political angle. Political angle, I am not telling about political side of the problem. The problem remains. It is not the opposition. Merely there is a genuine problem that they lost their livelihood. They have displaced, and there is multi-displacement also. Multiple displacement. That's why the protest continues, and the stable government is really misnomer. It's not stable government. It is because of Tina. There is no alternative. Therefore, people continue. People will go on voting, and that popularity, लोकप्रिय सरकार अलगा आ लोकाभिमुखी विकास अलगा लोकाभिमुखी विकास हूँ विकास जोटा कि लोकों भल पाई आपण भल पाई गोटे कथा कहबी आपण खुशी करने गोटे कथा कहबी दीटा अलग जिनस मुझे खुशी जानी कौन कहले आप खुशी होइए आप बढ़िया ताली मारे मो भाषण देला बढ़िया ताली मारे मुझे जानी कौन कहले भल लगे बहुत मीठा लगे किंतु आपन भल कथा कहले निश्चय आपन पिता पिता लगी पारे भल भी लगी पारे खराब भी लगी पारे मु डाउट रे रही जे मु सत कथा कहिदेली आपन तो पिता लगी पारे आपन विरुद्ध गला कथा आपन शिक्षित लोक विरुद्ध भी कहबेनी आपन इकोनॉमिक्स प्रोफेसर विरुद्ध कहबेनी कोन प्रोफेसर ताली मारिबो किंतु भल कथा रे सत कथा रे कहन ताका पिता लगियो सो लोकाभिमुखी अलगा लोकप्रिय अलगा ये सरकार लोकप्रिय सरकार हे परंती ये भी सेंटर भी सैया मोदी सरकार जो खाली ऑनेस्टी इज नथिंग अनलेस इट इज फॉर द पीपल ऑनेस्टी इज नथिंग is not unless it is good for the people. Suppose mu gote educationist mu party kholi bi nai mu indifferent rahibi. My indifference is same as insensitivity, and insensitivity is nothing but I am supporting the injustice. My indifference is the real problem. Negative is not a problem. Positive opposite negative I bujichu. In positive real शत्रु होची indifference. Positive mind, negative mind, I am bujichu positive opposite is negative. But pessimist or optimist. You know, optimist, pessimist, these are the boka. These are the non-doers, non-performers. Negative, I mean, बुझी नेगेटिव माइंड भूल पॉजिटिव माइंड भल आम बुझीचु किंतु आम बुझी ना जो पाठ पढ़ा लोक जो प्रोफेसर इकोनॉमिस्ट जो बड़ बड़ कथा सब कहते जगदीश महांती पर्यंत जो रिफर कले दे आर इंडिफरेंट से अमेरिकन एजुकेटेड घरे बॉम्बे जन्म होती अमेरिकन एजुकेटेड से कौन प्रैक्टिकल कथा बुझती ना खाली बही लिखती नोबेल प्राइज पाती अति बेसी नोबेल प्राइज पढ़ाती नोबेल प्राइज पाती नोबेल प्राइज पाईगले विद्वान हो भी भूल कथा. So, rational man, also irrelevant man. I am rational, but I can be irrelevant. So, relevance is a different concept. My pertinence is a different question. My significance is a different question. I may be a significant professor. I may be an important professor, but I may be irrelevant in my ideas, my wrong ideas. Wrong idea is worse than no idea, because wrong medicine is worse than wrong medicine. मोटे मेडिसिन खाइबी घर बस इज बेटर देन रॉन्ग मेडिसिन. गोटे भूल रास्ता मोटे जीवी ना गोटे बसिया बेटर, किंतु भूल रास्ता चलिए निश्चय खराब. मुझे यार जावा कथा पश्चिम को जावा कथा पूर्व को जावा कथा जगन्नाथ मंदिर, तो देखला मु पश्चिम को चली पंडा मु जाउची जगन्नाथ मंदिर. सो माय ऑब्जेक्टिव इज डिफिटेड इटसेल्फ. सो तेति पे हमें खाली सब कथा रे माती छु मीन सक्सीड एंड्स फेल. जो सुपर स्पेस जो मार्जिनलाइज ग्रुप कथा कहि था सेकंड थर्ड प्रश्न मार्जिनलाइज लोक जो प्रत्येक कथा रे से प्रत्येक डेवलपमेंट जते होची से डेवलपमेंट रे से माने गोटे ग्रुप बाहर लूजर ग्रुप मार्जिनलाइज ग्रुप कहीं हबो. डेवलपमेंट इज नॉट विन लूज सिचुएशन. इट इज नॉट अ गेम. डेवलपमेंट इज नॉट अ गेम और अ गैम्बल. It's not a blueprint or it is an outcome. It is not a ready-made outcome. It is a process where people are included. People should be included. So it is a win-win situation. Win-win situation न होबारु हमें win-lose situation होची. दले जितने दले हारिबे, तो जे हारिबे तांका संख्या केते हलानी 80% जो हारिबे. केबीके डिस्ट्रिक्ट टोटली नेग्लेक्टेड एवं से माने जो टिके मार्जिनलाइज डेवलपमेंट हेची, जो डॉक्टर पात्र कहउछ टिके डेवलप हेची, विलेज डेवलपमेंट हेची, रूरल डेवलपमेंट होईची, किंतु सेटा सब कॉस्मेटिक आपको ता गैप बढ़ीची. गोटे उपरକୁ ଯାଉଛି, गोटे एमती ଯାଉଛି, उभय बढ़ुଛନ୍ତି. ये हला विलेज, एटा हला सिटी, एटा हला केबीके, एटा हला कटक. ये कटक केते जोर दौड़लानी, ये केबीके केते जोर दौड़ी, गैप टा बढ़िଛି ना नहीं. दीटा जाक उपरକୁ ଯାଉଛନ୍ତି, दीटा जाक उपरକୁ ଯାଉଛନ୍ତି. देखंतु एटा हला केबीके जिला बैकवर्ड डिस्ट्रिक्ट, एटा हला कटक बा जतिक कोस्टल डिस्ट्रिक्ट. ये उभय बढ़ुଛନ୍ତି এবং एमाने खुशी, एमाने खुशी. किंतु मु इकोनॉमिस्ट, मु साधारण लोक हिसाब रे कहूची, मोटे मु कम्युनिस्ट मार्क्सिस्ट भी कथा मोटे सपोर्ट कर रहा. मु कहूची ह्यूमैनिस्टिक पर्सपेक्टिव गोटे सोशलिस्टिक पर्सपेक्टिव, गोटे सोशल गोटे मनुष्य पणिया जो डिबेट था, ये गैप टा कहीं बढ़ुची. ये गैप टा को डाइवर्जेंस रे कन्वर्जेंट. दिस गैप इज डाइवर्जेंट. यदि हला ये लोक को मिटानी, लोक को बुतैला. सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट भी सेया करूची. सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट पूरा टोटली ब्यूरोक्रेटाइज्ड. मोदी गवर्नमेंट क्या करूची प्रकृत रे कोन सा ओरिजिनल अछि सेरा सब आईएस अफसर बेसी करूचंती. इंदिरा गले आसिले सचित कांस्टेंट ना नहीं. नवीन पट्टनायक अच्छे कांस्टेंट, किंतु किए एक्चुअली रूल करूची सब आईएस अफसर रूल करचंती. एजुकेशन सेक्रेटरी किए जे एजुकेशन विषय किछ बुझे नहीं. इंजीनियरिंग सेक्रेटरी किए, हेल्थ सेक्रेटरी किए जे किछि हेल्थ प्रॉब्लम बुझे नहीं. तो सोशली डिसओरिएंटेड लोक गुडी का से जगह से बसिचंती, जो माने सोशल ओरिएंटेशन नहीं, सेंसिटिविटी नहीं. तो ट्राइबल क्वेश्चन, ट्राइबल डेवलपमेंट फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन आछी. ट्राइबल क्वेश्चन इज द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन व्हिच इज ये पैराडॉक्स, व्हिच इज आयरनी दैट जो ट्राइबल डेवलपमेंट कथा हमें बेसिक एम्फासाइज करू, सेही क्षेत्र रे हमें बेसी फेल मारिछु. हाईली एम्फासाइज्ड सेक्टर इज ट्राइबल सेक्टर. ओडिसा रे खाली ट्राइबल डेवलपमेंट कहूछु, और सेटा बहुत बेसी नेग्लेक्टेड हेची. बेसी फोकस, बेसी नेग्लेक्ट, एवं अति बेसी हमें से पैसा खर्च करू. ट्राइबल डेवलपमेंट से को हमें मेन स्ट्रीम को आसी पारिनो. से माने एबे भी रहिछन रेसिपिएंट ऑफ वेलफेयर मेजर्स, रेसिपिएंट ऑफ दया देखे कि कहा डेवलपमेंट को हुए नहीं. आपण मते खाया को देबे किंतु मते दया रे देबे. मु कहबी मो फूड सिक्योरिटी, आपण फूड सिक्योरिटी मते कहले गवर्नमेंट मध्ये बाहादर माला फूड सिक्योरिटी हेला. फूड सिक्योरिटी हेला कोन, 2 टका चाउल ना 5 टका डालो भात ना मंदिर रे लंगर ना मते फूड सिक्योरिटी माने. फूड सिक्योरिटी क्वेश्चन भी अछि. फूड सिक्योरिटी माने होची ए सोशली एक्सेप्टेबल मेथड ऑफ गेटिंग फूड. सोशली एक्सेप्टेबल मेथड, सफिशिएंट, एडेक्वेट, अफोर्डेबल, एक्सेसिबल, ये सब रहबो. आ गोटे मेन पॉइंट होची एबो न्यूट्रिशनल फूड. बेकार जिंस फालतू जिंस न्यूट्रिशन होथिबो, ता संगे गोटे होची सोशली एक्सेप्टेबल मेथड. मुझे चोरी करिकी, स्कैवेंजिंग करिकी, मेहनतरी काम करिकी खाद्य आनिली, सेटा नो इज दैट इज नॉट फूड सिक्योरिटी. चोरी कली कि लंगर पकई मंदिर रे दान करागला, मते रिलीफ मेजर पैसा दिया, खाया दिया गला, सेटा फूड सिक्योरिटी नहीं. फूड सिक्योरिटी होची तार एंटाइटलमेंट एज दैट इज सोवरेंटी. ताको फूड मु ताको बढ़िया करी कहू फूड सोवरेंटी. फूड सोवरेंटी मु जन्म हेली माने बंचिबी, मोर बंचिबार अधिकार माने राइट टू फूड, राइट टू लिव, राइट टू फूड. दीटा मो संगे बासला जन्म हेली माने राइट टू फूड आसीगला. तेला माय फूड सोवरेंटी, दैट इज माय फूड सोवरेंटी. हेता के कथा कहउछनी खाली सप्लाई करछनी 5 टका डालना बात से कोड आसीची, कोड साउथ रो आसीची, कांसेप्ट साउथ रो आसीची. एवं ए आईएस का माध्यम थ्रू रे आईएस को मेंटालिटी तेन करी चीफ मिनिस्टर स्टेबल कथा भूल. पॉलिटिकल स्टेबिलिटी मध्य गोटे मिसनोमर इज अ मिथ. এবং ট্রাইবাল ডেভଲপমেंट मोस्ट नेग्लेक्टेड ट्राइबल लोकों को सब बेले बायपास करा जायछि এবং ट्राइबल डेवलपमेंट जोठी की स्टेट फेल कला एवं मार्केट भी फेल कला मार्केट मोटे काम करू नाही ट्राइबल डेवलपमेंट पई एवं करिवो नाही स्टेट फेल सक्सेस करिया चांस थिला स्टेट रे करप्शन पसिला जेतोले डेवलपमेंट कथा कहलु ट्राइबल डेवलपमेंट 40 वर्ष सिटी रहला करप्शन एटी वेलफेयर माने आसिला करप्शन जोटी वेलफेयर कथा आसिला करप्शन हम दया देखि ताको वेलफेयर मेजर कलु कि ट्राइबल लोक नागरिक ना दयार पात्र ताको दयार पात्र करिकि आमे ताको इंटीग्रेट कलु न ताको आमे बाहर रखिलु एवं दळे देबे दळे नेबे आमे डॉक्टर हेलु से रोगी हला आमे शिक्षित हेलु से अशिक्षित हला आमे नॉन ट्राइबल आमे कटिकिया हेलु से माने वेस्टर्न ओडिसा है कि आमे दयार बंचिबे भूल जिंस सर एडवांस डेवलपमेंट सरी बैलेंस डेवलपमेंट दरकार एवं सब लोगों को नहीं कि जीवा दरकार तो ट्राइबल डेवलपमेंट जोटी की कल्चर मध्ये नेग्लेक्टेड कल्चरली वी आर डिसओरिएंटेड हमर जो कल्चर आसिला बतन ट्रांसनेशनल कल्चर बतन यंग पिला माने किछि बुझिबे नाही बुझंती नाही बतन ताको कल्चर हला ट्रांसनेशनल अर्बन कल्चर से कल्चर घरे तो नहीं समाज रे कोटे आजो ओडिसा रे कोटे आसीबो घरे निज घरे को झिया जो अलगा खाइबे सो अलगा सोइबे अलगा खाद्य खाइबे अलगा पिंदिबे अलगा सब टेस्ट उडा हमर नुह खाद्य कोनोसी गोटे छुआ ता निज घर खाद्य खाउची की चूड़ा खाउची की ना घर खाउची ना भात खाउची भात रुटी भी खाउनी पिज्जा बर्गर खाइबो कॉर्नफ्लेक्स खाइबो किंतु चूड़ा खाइबो नहीं तो घरु कल्चर आरंभ होला खाद्य रु आरंभ होला ड्रेस रु आरंभ होला पाठपढ़ा रु आरंभ होला पाठपढ़ा मु प्रोफेशनल मध्ये मु बुझी पाउची मो पिला कोन पाठ पढुची मु एते बेला शिखि जाई मु जाई पाउची मो की चाकरी करची की आईटी सेक्टर की चाकरी करची बेंगलोर मका मध्ये नाही सेठी जाईची की चाकरी करची कोन करी ता नेचर पुआर कोन बुझी पाउची मु तो सब कथा हम दूरे जाईछु हम ट्रांसनेशनल अर्बन कल्चर को ग्रहण करछु फ्यूचर टोटली अनसर्टेन टुडे इज फ्रस्ट्रेशन टुमारो इज अनसर्टेन ये कथा नहीं कि टुमारो आज फ्रस्ट्रेशन काहे की केतरा पिला चाकरी पाउछन आईआईटी पिला केवल से चाकरी पाउछन से बुझिछन जे तांकर जो आईआईटी पिला नुहति से अवस्था कोन से तांकर जो इनसेंसिटिविटी बढ़िला से चाकरी निजे पाई गले खुशी रहिले अमेरिका पळेले किंतु से देश कथा केही भाबिले नाही सोशली डिसओरिएंटेड पाठ पढ़ा आईआईटी से ट्राइबल कथा की भाबुची ट्राइबल तो पूरा लास्ट आइटम हे होची ट्राइबल डेवलपमेंट टोटली नेग्लेक्टेड सेक्टर केवल ताकू वेलफेयर मेजर्स करिकि हमें ताकू गोटे एड ऑन गोटे अपेंडिक्स कर रखिछु डेवलपमेंट प्रोसेस रा ट्राइबल डेवलपमेंट इज नॉट एन अपेंडिक्स इट हैज टू बी ए मेन स्ट्रीम हेले डेफिनेटली हमको स्पीड छाड़िया पे पड़ियो स्पीड रे दौड़िया कथा भूली जा कथा स्पीड रे काई दौड़िबु इधर मोर दुटा भाई लेंगड़ा अछिंदी मु स्पीड रे दौड़िया कथा कहबी कि कहला उचित की मो गोड़ ठीक अछि बोली मु दौड़िबी देखला मु जानुछि मो दी जण भाई कोना अछंदी भाई दी भाई यांको गोड़ा गोटे छोटा अछि गोटे भाई रो गोटे गोड़ अछि गोटे भाई मोटे गोड़ नाही जानी जानला स्पीड दौड़ी इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ कथा कहबी मु इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ नुह से आगे डेवलपमेंट सोशल डेवलपमेंट लोकों को डेवलपमेंट मस्ट डिटरमिन द इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ गोटे लास्ट आइटम आते कथा इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ आम मुंडे मोटे आसवा कथा नुह एटा आसो 1000 वर्ष पर अमेरिका नुह प्राइवेटाइजेशन आसो अमेरिका भाया प्राइवेटाइज हम 1000 वर्ष पर सब अमेरिका सब जिन प्राइवेटाइज इंडिया प्राइवेटाइज कर डेवलपमेंट मिलो आगे से डेवलप कर 1000 वर्ष पर प्राइवेटाइज कर सब हेल्थ सब बेस्ट यूनिवर्सिटी प्राइवेट बेस्ट हॉस्पिटल प्राइवेट सेठी रास्ता घाट सब प्राइवेट सेठी कहीं आम कि भावुँ आम प्राइवेट कले से ये भुआ सांगे ओध सांगे भुआ मरब ना नहीं भुआ जड़े ओध से भुआ ओध कंपारिजन चाहे अमेरिका इंडिया से आम रशिया पछे गोड़ा 40 वर्ष पूरा भूल और अमेरिका पछे गोड़ा पूरा मारात्मक क्या पछे गोड़े बिकज इंडिया गोटे कंट्री नुह गोटे कंटिनेंट नुह गोटे स्वतंत्र पृथ्वी एवं ये समस्त अंडर डेवलप्ड कंट्री सब डेवलपिंग कंट्री गोटे नमूना ये जब डेवलप करू नहीं डेवलपमेंट मत हो नहीं खाली ये जो कॉस्मेटिक डेवलपमेंट हो जो 5% मो भाया प्रोफेसर आप प्रोफेसर आप साइंटिस्ट एम बेनिफिट पाँच एम निज कथा भावुं देश कथा कहीं भावी ना देश आगुच ना देश पछौची होल प्रोसेस इज रिग्रेसिव जो ट्राइबल नेग्लेक्टेड चाइल्ड नेग्लेक्टेड वुमेन नेग्लेक्टेड वुमेन डेवलपमेंट घटुची खाली केतरा झियो जदी मोटरसाइकिल बुलिले कार बुलिले से देखिए आप वुमेन डेवलपमेंट कहे वुमेन डेवलपमेंट जो टॉप 1% झियो मैंने जो चाकरी पाउछन आईआईटी पाठ पढ़ी आईआईटी टॉपर होछन चाकरी भी पाउछन ताकू देखिए आप वुमेन डेवलपमेंट हेला जो 1% मात्र 2% मात्र देखो सेटा वुमेन डेवलपमेंट हला नहीं चाइल्ड डेवलपमेंट हला नहीं एल्डरली पीपल आर नेग्लेक्टेड हाईली एजुकेटेड पीपल आर इंटेलेक्चुअली मार्जिनलाइज्ड आप ज्ञानी बोली कहे प्रशंसा करेंगे पूजा करेंगे कि सार आप दूरी रोचे आप कथा किसी ग्रहण करेंगे आप पूजा करेंगे पूज्य अलग प्रिय अलग संस्कृति अलग ये जो सिविलाइजेशन अलग कहीं संस्कृति गोटे अलग सिविलाइजेशन एंड कल्चर दीटा अलग कहीं गोटे पूज्य गोटे ग्रहण गोटे अलग कहीं है जड़े ग्रहण जहाँ ग्रहण कर पूजा करना पूजा कर ग्रहण करना गोटे सिविलाइज अर्बान सिविलाइजेशन बढ़ला किंतु अर्बान कल्चर घटिला गोटे बहुत इंटेलिजेंस गोटे आड़े टैलेंट गोटे आड़े आ गोटे आड़े क्रिएटिविटी और टैलेंट अलग कौन गोटे पिला टैलेंटेड कि क्रिएटिव नुह आ गोटे पिला क्रिएटिव कि टैलेंट नुह गोटे पिला भल छात्र देखला भल पिला आउ जड़े गोटे पिला भल छात्र भल नंबर रखी कि भल ज्ञानी पिला नुह ज्ञान अन्य आड़े चाकरी सॉरी नंबर गोटे आड़े ये सब अलग कहीं है सुख गोटे आड़े शांति आ गोटे आड़े कि सुख एते सुख कि शांति टिके भी नहीं धर्म धर्म एते धर्म देखला गोटे मानविकता नहीं तो सब कथा अलग जो होम कृत्रिमता सबुआड़े कृत्रिमता सबुआड़े इनसेंसिटिवनेस सबुआड़े इंडिफरेंस रही सो इंडिफरेंस कहार इंडिफरेंस को कहूँ ना एजुकेटेड लोक इंडिफरेंस कथा कहूँ चाषी लोक चाषी मूल्य इंडिफरेंट हो पारे गोटे तार इंडिफरेंस को इंडिफरेंस धराଯିव ना गोटे अण पुलिस ता पेट बाहरी पारे पुलिस पेट बाहर पुलिस पेट बाहर माने से निज ड्यूटी कला नहीं मोर पेट बाहर चलो मोर गला थी मोर प्रोफेसर गला ठीक थी दरकार कि मो गला ना मो प्रोफेसर हवा कथा मुझे गला मोर प्रोब्लेम अच्छी मो प्रोफेसर हवा कथा नुह टीचिंग लाइन निजे मना करिया कथा गोल्ड मेडल हेले गोल्ड मेडल पाइले टीचिंग लाइन को अप्लाई करिया कथा नुह कि अप्लाई करूछन मो पेट बाहर मु पुलिस हवा कथा जदि पुलिस हेली पेट कहीं बाहरला तो प्रत्येक स्टेज रे प्रत्येक प्रोफेशन रे ये दोष रहा इनसेंसिटिव शिक्षित लोक को वी डू नॉट सी अशिक्षित लोक कैन नॉट सी मु आखि थिया लोक आई डू नॉट सी आखि अच्छी कि देखे ना कि अशिक्षित मूर्ख लोक अंध लोक ही कैन नॉट सी इज नॉट ए प्रॉब्लम डू नॉट सी इज ए प्रॉब्लम एवं इलिटरेट जो अशिक्षित लोक कह आई डोंट नो इज नॉट ए बर्डन फॉर द सोसाइटी मु जानी नहीं इज नॉट ए बर्डन किंतु मु खातिर करे नहीं आई डोंट केयर मु किसी अफेक्टेड हो नहीं मोर किसी हबार नहीं मोर किसी असुविधा हो नहीं मु तो शिक्षित लोक मु तो प्रोफेसर हो मु तो इंडस्ट्री मु तो इंजीनियर हो डाक्टर हो मोर कौन अच्छे आई डोंट केयर इज ए प्रॉब्लम इज ए रियल प्रॉब्लम इनसेंसिटिव इज ए रियल प्रॉब्लम इंडिफरेंस इज ए रियल प्रॉब्लम साइलेंस इज द रियल प्रॉब्लम वॉइस नॉइज इज नॉट ए प्रॉब्लम साइलेंस इज द रियल प्रॉब्लम ऑफ सोसाइटी एंड मु कहि परिबी कहे नहीं लिखि परिबी लिखे नहीं पढ़ी पारि पढ़े ना केतका पाठक अच्छा बर्तमान बही बाहर शह शह बही बाहर रिसर्च केतना लोक पढ़ुन कहले से बही पाठक संख्या अच्छी कि जे पढ़े ना तार कि अधिकार अच्छी से लिख आगे पढ़ 80% पढ़ 20% लिख 80% शुण 20% कह जे शुणी ना से कह कौन जे देखी ना से देखेब कौन जे देखी ना सारा ओडिशा को जे देखी से भारत समस्या बुझी सारा ओडिशा को देखी बुझी कलाहांडी जन्म होशा जन्म हो भाग्यवान ये कौन पोवर्टी कौन समस्या से निजे बुझी पोवर्टी कमी पात्र कहले पोवर्टी कमी परसेंटेज कमी कि भलनरेबिलिटी बढ़ी भलनरेबिलिटी ग्रोथ इलास्टिसिटी ऑफ पोवर्टी एकदम नेग्लिजिबल इंडिया रे ग्रोथ इलास्टिसिटी ग्रोथ द्वारा पोवर्टी कमे सेटा सत किंतु केते ओडिशा इंडिया रे केते 0.9 चाइना रे 4% 4 पॉइंट समथिंग तेणुकर पोवर्टी बढ़ी जा कमी जाइए कहले जगदीश भगवती कथा जगदीश भगवती जे कि नोबेल प्राइज बस जेहेतु से गोटे इंडस्ट्रियल फैमिली बैकग्राउंड से रकम से कैपिटालिस्ट को सपोर्ट कर सब कथा कहते ब्लाइंड डगमा जेकोसी इजिम विश्वास करवा माने गोटे रिलीजियन माने हूँ अंध इजिम अंध कर दिए वास्तव को देखा आखि न थाए कौन सी इजिम गांधीजिम पर्यंत रिलीजियन एनी मार्क्सिज्म कैपिटलिज्म सोशलिज्म एनी इजिम इज गोइंग अगेंस्ट द ह्यूमैनिटी डगमा संगे संगा गोटे ओपियम गोटे ओपियम से गोष्ठी अच्छा जी कि नोबेल प्राइज पाँच किंतु वास्तव को देखी ना न देखिकी कहते हैं आसिक प्राइम मिनिस्टर एडवाइजर होकर आसिले गले रक्षा प्राइम मिनिस्टर देखिकी विदा कर जन को जो आउटलैंडिश एटीट्यूड स्पेक्टेटोरियल ऑब्जर्वेशन स्पेक्टेटोरियल कमेंट स्पेक्टेटोरियल पॉलिसी दर्शक हिसाब से दर्शक हिसाब से कोणार्क देखा आसबि कोणार्क विषय में जो गाई जो पुरी अंचल जहाँ देखिए से कह सत स्पेक्टेटोरियल ऑब्जर्वेशन इज नो ऑब्जर्वेशन स्पेक्टेटोरियल दृश्य स्पेक्टेटर हिसाब से दृश्य सत्य नुह ताकू ग्रहण करवा से निजे भूल आने कहवा आहरी भूल तेणुक फरेन पाठ पढ़ी फरेन प्रोफेसर हो विभिन्न ऑक्सफोर्ड रे प्रोफेसर हो विराट साइंटिस्ट हो पार किंतु ग्राउंड रियलिटी लैब रु तो लैंड गलानी लैब रे विराट कथा कल किंतु लैंड रे देखला को किछि तार एप्लीकेशन किछि नै रेलेवेंट किछि नै सो लैंड लैब प्रश्न सब रहिला तो थियोरी आ प्रैक्टिस हित तफा सब रहला सो वी मस्ट बी वेरी प्रैग्मेटिक एंड प्रैक्टिकल ता हम रेलेवेंस कथा आसीबो खाली significance is not important. Significance along with relevance is necessary. Our rationality must be endorsed by relevance. Relevance must endorse reality. Reality must endorse rationality. खाली rational है जते नुए खाली honest है जते honest ज्ञानी है जते नुए honest है जते नुए efficient है जते effectiveness दरकार. Effectiveness अलगा है. Anybody who is effective can be efficient, but anybody who is efficient may not be effective. गोटे खाली जे रेलेवेंट जे हला निश्चित भाव से रेशनल थिबो निश्चित लॉजिकली कथा कहउथबो कि खाली लॉजिकली कथा कहले अपन निजर बहादुरी मानले अपन निजर प्रशंसा हला निजर प्रोफेसर हिसाब ना कहले निज बड इकोनॉमिस्ट हे गले कि इकोनॉमिक्स डूबी गलानी इकोनॉमिक्स सब्जेक्ट आगु अछि 500 कॉलेज रे इकोनॉमिक्स सब्जेक्ट नाही कारण में आ प्रोफेसर मैन दाई पाठ पढौचन एमिति वजन से पाठ पढार किछि एप्लीकेशन नाही थियोरेटिकली खाली थियोरी प्रैक्टिकली मोटे एप्लीकेशन नाही जे मॉडल पढांतु लॉ ऑफ डिमांड पढांतु जे कोन जिंस कोन जगह सेला एप्लीकेशन हो नाही मो कहया था थियोरी प्रैक्टिस दीटा जांको गोटे कथा बैड इंप्लीमेंटेशन काई होउची हातो आइंस सॉरी चटु आइंस बेंट निरामिष ये कहया कथा की गुड प्लानिंग बैड इंप्लीमेंटेशन कहया कथा की स्टेटमेंट इज रॉन्ग चटु आइंस जदी हला बेंट मध्ये आइंस होची तो बेंट आइंस चटु निरामिष फाळे भलो फाळे खराब हेइ देइबो नै भलो प्लानिंग खराब इंप्लीमेंटेशन कहि 60 वर्ष 70 वर्ष कटे गेलु काहे कि ना हम पाठ पढा लोक दाई सो वी डोंट केयर जे मोर मु ठीक अछि मु गोटे बड़ प्रोफेसर प्लानर मु प्लानिंग ठीक अछि ग्राउंड लेवल करप्शन हला तो इंप्लीमेंटेशन ठीक हला नै तेनु करी मोर आईआरडीपी फेल माला आईआरडीपी जो थला इंदिरा गांधी समय रे आईआरडीपी करप्शन हला आईआरडीपी इधर रिश्वत देना पड़ेगा ये सब कहीं हला तो तुम जाने करप्शन होची 70 पैसा पहुंची जे तुम मानुचो तो टंका 70 पैसा ओडिसा रे लोक पाखरे पहुंची तो मानुचो मानला पर भी कंटिन्यू कला केते वर्ष तो तुम 60 वर्ष कंप्लीट मोदी आसला पर बदलला मोदी आसला पर जन योजना कले से वो पहुंच लगी सी जो फेक बैंक अकाउंट को खोला जाउची मैनेजर चाकरी पड़े बोली से निजे फेक अकाउंट खोलुची फेक अकाउंट खोली कि लोक जनार पैसा डिपॉजिट करी ता चाकरी रखिया पई से तार जन योजना रे अकाउंट सब खोलुची डॉक्टर सेला रियल वास्तव कोठी वास्तव गोटे चाषी मिलिया बैंक को पस पार बैंक कौन गोटे सेंट्रल बैंक खोलुची हिज अनटचेबल गोटे केबिके जिल्ला गोटे आदिवासी से बैंक भीतर पसी पार हि इज अनटचेबल इज अनटचेबल तार जो ड्रेस तार जो कथाबार्ता तार जो खाଇବା ପିଇବା तार चलनी ताको कौन बैंक भीतर से पशिया साहस अच्छी इवन इंक्लूडिंग ग्राम्य बैंक तेणुक अनटचेबिलिटी एपर्यंत कंटिन्यू कर क्रेडिट कथा जो कहू थियोरेटिकल नहीं क्रेडिट नब फार्मर क्रेडिट समस्या समाधान हो समाधान आज मोदी सरकार के मोदी सरकार किसी ना खाली मोदी प्रवर्तन कर बहुत बढ़िया कथा बहुत जिन भल भल कथा कर प्राक्टिकली हो संभावना देखा कि आमर एपर्यंत आम कोलोनियल माइंडसेट गला ना आम एपर्यंत भावुँ दी प्रकार लोक जन्म दी प्रकार पाठ पढ़े दी प्रकार हॉस्पिटल हम गोटे सुपर हॉस्पिटल हम ये ओडिशा रे सुपर हॉस्पिटल दरकार ना आगे हेल्थ दरकार हेल्थ केयर दरकार ना जो कैंसर स्पेशल हॉस्पिटल दरकार कैंसर स्पेशल हॉस्पिटल से हमको एविड स्पेशल हॉस्पिटल स्पेशलिटी हॉस्पिटल होची कि मिनिमम जिनस नहीं आमर मिनिमम जिनस चाष नहीं खाद्य नहीं मिनिमम जिनस वस्त्र नहीं मिनिमम जोड़ा नहीं जो पांचटा नेसेसिटी फुलफिल कला ପରେ से आम कहवा डेवलपमेंट कथा कहवा इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ कथा इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ पक्ष कथा आज डेवलपमेंट माने होची हेल्थ केयर एजुकेशन एग्रीकल्चर इरिगेशन एगुड़ा को नेग्लेक्ट करके नेग्लेक्ट करके केबे देश आगे परिवार इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ कथा कहवा माने केवल गोड़ थिबा लोक दौड़ जहाँ गोड़ भांगी जाए से दौड़ गोड़ भांगी जाइथिबा लोक गोड़ नथिबा लोक गोटे गोड़ गोटे आखि थिबा लोक संख्या 80% डिप्राइव सेक्शन से नेग्लेक्ट करवा अर्थ करने आम इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ कहूँ बुझुचु ट्राइबल मोस्ट अफेक्टेड ग्रुप ट्राइबल वुमेन चिल्ड्रेन ऑल आर नेग्लेक्टेड आ छोट छुआ तो किसी बुझे मोबाइल 18-20 वर्ष पर पढ़े आईआईटी पाइले पढ़े से देश कथा बुझे छोट बेलू चाइल्डहुड इज सबटेज पाठ पढ़ाऊ पाठ पढ़ा बोझ खाई किए कर पाठ पढ़ा गोटे बोझ बेग जी बोझ पाठ पढ़ा आहरी बोझ मम्मी डाडी पाठ पढ़ुं पिला पाठ पढ़ुची प्रोजेक्ट हम क्लास 1 पिला प्रोजेक्ट करवा पाठ पढ़ा को आम बर्डन कर लर्निंग विदाउट बर्डन करूँ पाठ पढ़ा आम छोट पे पाठ पढ़ुलु 7-8 छुआ गोटे मार बापा माँ पाठ पढ़ुलु आम पाठ पढ़ले पढ़ न पढ़ले ना खाइले खा न खाइले ना जहाँ कर तो स्वाधीन सो एजुकेटेड पिला एजुकेटेड मदर अनएजुकेटेड मदर भीतर डिफरेंस कौन एजुकेटेड मदर हूँ Others.
Okay. Audio. I think due to technical issue, sir is removed. Now I would like to Professor Patra to respond a few questions from the participants. One question is from Payal Agarwal. In the post-pandemic world, will there be a rise in globalization or will it come to an end? Another question is from my side. All of us we know that the globalization and capitalist model of development have marginalized the tribal force. What type of development model we require to achieve inclusive development in this globalized era? Over to you, sir.
Thank you for the questions. The first questions about post globalization. This is what I said. Always there is a confusion in our academics. In India, we get more emotional. We repeat things rather than we are precise. This is our, something cultural and academic. This is post globalization when we are talking about, especially. There is in post globalization, we are going more towards nationalization. We are protecting our things. After the COVID situations, people are more about the situation will the global trade is changing now. So people are thinking about how to produce locals. So in the post-COVID, in fact, globalization will be thought in economic sense. But when it comes to technical sense, you cannot avoid globalization in terms of accessing technology like internet. Now in YouTube, somebody is learning how, sorry, yeah, how somebody is cultivating, let us say, dragon fruit in South Asian country and implementing in India. So this is one kind of positive aspect of globalization that is going to stay. This digitalization, globalization, technological globalization is going to stay. But economic globalization will be more conservative. More conservative means it will be focused more nationalization. So like United States, as you know, I disagree many points what Professor Das said, because he's very localized. You know, he's not looking at in the international state. Globalization did not help America. He's because of capitalism, he is against America. It's okay, I understand the ideological, emotional appeal, but globalization did not benefit the Western country. They thought this is why they themselves are changing, and we have to change. This is answer to your first question. Second thing, tribal population. Again, the tribal population. I come from a village where 30% are tribals. So it's also, we are only putting simple statement that we don't have any tribal who doesn't access to a mobile phone or bank. No, things are changing. We have tribals who are using. Okay, there are still very poor people, but there are poor people even in the upper caste too. So it is very simplified statement to putting tribal everybody in the same scale. First, that is wrong. We have to go and see in the village level whether it has improved their quality of life, whether they have actually their access. Okay, the gap has improved. Globalization has affected tribals in many different ways. First thing is their handicrafts. It used to be cheaper, as I said, the Narega, so they could able to sell it. Now they cannot sell it. It's more expensive than buying a plastic things. This is how the Chinese product came. We lost. Even the bangles, like many Indian company, they were producing the chudi. These were made in India, but now no more. Most of them, they illegal. Even the spectacles we wear, most of the frame come from China. Sometimes they put the market. So tribals are losing their, long-term sustainable handicrafts. So globalization is in fact negatively affecting in those areas. On the other hand, some of the benefits tribal are getting are now their pulses, their other things are more exposed. If you go to the mountain of Tuamul Rampur, the local, what we call something like a kutia or kutia kond or other things. So they go to the local businessmen and they used to sell, but now their products are more. They are able to know, they are able to access the market. The communication is helping them. They are bringing to towns, nearby towns. They are agreeing with the local businessmen. This has changed in many tribal pockets in Odisha. And I am talking. I have visited. I visit Tuamul Rampur, this area, Tuamul Rampur especially. But I'm talking from the personal experience. And when it comes to communication, tribal are wearing jeans. Don't think that all the tribals are wearing like the same way in old days we used to think. If you go today, tribals are wearing t-shirt, jeans. So there is transformation in that sense. But the gap, as I said, because of the poor planning structure, I agree with Professor Das in one sense. This is divergent, means the gap is increasing. And this is what exactly I said in my past slide. Poverty is reducing, but unequal growth is increasing. This increase, and this is because of poor planning. Poor planning because in India we are easygoing people. Wherever something is there, just we focus and everybody moves there. We do not plan like Germany. Okay, this plan is moving, just leave it, focus it here, so people will not, like common men like you and me, we will go to the Cuttack or somewhere else to find a job, even if you come from a village, because we don't have a university in our home place, right? The same thing for everybody looks for opportunity. This is a normal thing. So our plans should be, this is what I said, this Bijawada route or Bijawada Kharagpur. So if we divert it, the all aspects will be equally growth. So the infrastructure is very important thing, and always we say about primary infrastructure. You say primary infrastructure keep developing, but we ignore the tertiary infrastructure, emergency medicine. So this can be in Odisha, it has improved. Okay, we have many works to do, but compared to old days, compared to what I have seen, and today we have really progressed a little, but we have a lot of work to do, especially in policy side.
Thank you, Dr. Patra. Now we are. I am requesting Mr. Shubham Das for vote of thanks and his closing comments.
Really, thanks, sir. Really, globalization interconnected us today. At the same time, we cannot deny that with the advent of globalization, new colonialism and new imperialism have impoverished the disadvantaged sections of our society, and Odisha is not left out of that. And now I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to Professor Kumar Das, Professor Digambara Patra, and Mr. Suvendu Senapati for sparing their valuable time with us and enlightening us through their mesmerizing presentation. I would also like to thank Dr. Bikram Kesari Jana, Director of CAR Odisha, for his hearty cooperation to organize this webinar. I would also like to express my profound gratitude to our beloved principal, Professor Pallav Chakrabarti, convener, Professor Sharat Chandra Pradhan, and coordinator, Mr. Rudranarayan Das, and Ms. Payal Agarwal for their hearty cooperation to organize this event. I am happy to express my vote of thanks to all the professors, lecturers, and students who have made this webinar such a resounding success by sparing their time with us. Thank you.
Now the session is over. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Vikram and Principal. Samastang dhanyawad.